All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back.
It's like a curse.
Yeah, it really
You can't
is.
escape it. It's like deja vu. It's me, Zeus. It's deja vu when I'm running up these
Gonna
racks. I'm
restart.
like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back. It's deja vu when I'm out here flying first class. It's like every week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it, look at my grass. Cars in the garage with tanks full of gas. I play the game so raw, I won't finish last. Sitting in my living room screaming how we made it. This is how it's supposed to happen when you're rich and famous. The algorithm turned me to a maniac.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they reported it last time. Wow.
I got all these numbers on my
Don't worry, we'll still get to it.
Franklin is my bestie. And if they is
I mean, if you don't, well, I'll get into it. All right. I mean, I guess this photo's really done something to him.
with my chest cause I mean it.
Yeah, we're back in the Thunderdome.
Call me the master with a new whip.
Here it goes.
I'ma take off in a spaceship.
I'll tell you what.
Here it goes right there.
Yes. Shit was radical.
You gonna report me
it
too?
Was horrible.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you've gone, Zeus
They're gonna report us. All right. What a shame.
Deja vu. It's like deja vu.
Why? Why?
It's like deja vu.
I don't know.
It's like.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry about that. But no, you know, at this point, it is what it is. I get it. A lot of people don't like the broadcast that I do because we do what we do and we're fearless when we do it because unlike them, we actually care about saving this great country of ours. And so before we get into what we got to talk about today, we got something very serious, obviously, to discuss. That's a photo of their dear leader, ladies and gentlemen, behind me in the background. This is the definition of what fear looks like in his eyes. I want you all to look at this photo real closely, and we'll talk a little bit more about how this photo was snapped. And actually, this photo should be on the cover of Time magazine, right? Because this is what real fear. You can see him. I mean, I've seen fear in people's eyes before, but look at the knuckles. Look at his knuckles right there, MAGA. This is a man terrified because he knew that he just cooked himself in front of everyone. But before I go into that, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who don't know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or some like to say Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media, hands down. The second H is because, well, I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. Listen, if I get it wrong, I'll be the first to apologize, all right? Because I don't think apologizing is a sign of weakness. I've learned over the years, it's a sign of strength, all right? And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, and it's probably one of the most important ones, is because I am and will always remain, you've guessed it, the most handsome. Now, many of you know exactly what we do over here on this side of TikTok. What we do is spectacular. It's special. We hold these people on the right. I don't even want to use the word right anymore when I start talking about the folks who support Donald Trump. We just hold these evil, wicked, adulterous, vile generation of vipers. You know, these people are den of thieves type of individuals. We hold these so-called Trump supporters accountable for their dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds as well as their crimes. And it's so easy to do. W. Zena, thank you. Yeah, and we call them out on their hypocrisy across the board. And boy, oh boy, we are in a state of true exposure at the highest levels when it comes to MAGA. And I really do sense, ladies and gentlemen, that they don't got much time in the cult before things are going to get really bad for them. So let me go, before I go any further, do we have any Trump supporters out there in the audience? Do we have any Trump supporters out there in the audience that are brave enough to admit they still support Donald Trump? All right. I don't need you to come up right here. I just need you to identify yourselves in the audience real quick so I can give you a little tongue lashing, if you know what I mean. All right. They don't want to admit. Okay. Oh, they say me. Okay. I got you. Casey, you're a Trump supporter. Queen Lee, you're a Trump supporter. All right. Let me go ahead and say what I need to say. Let me say this real quick. Hold on real quick. I got to get my little rag so that I can wipe myself because it gets real hot over here when I'm cooking the MAGA demons. The lake of fire is right there. I'm going to give you the opportunity of a lifetime. All right, you can leave this live right now, and you could go hang out with these fake TikTok hosts. All right, because they will lie to you about your dear leader. But over here, between what I do and some of the guests that come up here with me, we're not going to lie to you. What we're going to do is we're going to ruin your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. Becky, could you send me a guest request? And I'll be willing to address whatever issues you want to bring up about the Democrats. All right, Becky, I seriously do want to hear from you, but I'm going to need you to do me a favor real quick, Becky, because I'm in the middle of a very important part of the show. And I need you to sit your special behind down, Becky. So to anybody like Becky, leave right now, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable for you in here. All right. Because that's what happens in the Thunderdome when we tell the truth. All right. And if you don't want me to ruin your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and everything in between, the Cheez-Its and the Diet Coke, leave right now because it's going to get very uncomfortable. But get this, Becky. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
And now the doors to the Thunderdome have officially closed. Sparks are about to start flying, and honestly, I don't take any responsibility for what happens at this point because we all got the heads up. But I'll be honest about this. If you are an agent of darkness, an agent of chaos, yeah, this is going to be a very, very, very uncomfortable experience for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So the first things first, let's address the elephant in the room. Donald Trump, their dear leader, he gave a disastrous interview that we all saw, in which he's advocating and he's actually moving towards militarizing the state of California. He's going after Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom is, honestly standing up for the American people. W. Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom and him had a phone call. And apparently this phone call rattled Donald Trump so much that it's causing him to have, serious issues, especially when it comes to, the things that he says. He's lying a lot more than he typically does. And, obviously, it's making it harder for him to walk straight. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But what I want to do is get on the record, ladies and gentlemen, some of the things that their dear leader said to them, said to the world yesterday, actually, as it relates to what happened with these, he decided to order the National Guard against Gavin Newsom's will. And him and Marco Rubio decided to give one of their ridiculous little interviews to the American people. And what we'll do is we'll get into judgment right after this. Let's give this a little...
To win a national election again. I love this guy. I think that is the great. Who you with? Breitbart. Great. It's a great group. Breitbart. Great group. I think that you're going to see some very strong law and order.
So he's telling the media that we're going to see some very strong law and order in Los Angeles. Does anyone think Donald Trump is a good example of what law and order is, considering the fact that he himself has been convicted, right? He's been convicted. He has 34 felonies. So it's like the wolf going into the hen house and telling the hens, listen, we ought to calm down. There's some dangerous people in here. And what I'm going to do is get the dangerous people out. Obviously, that's impossible to do because the wolf is not there to make peace. The wolf is obviously there to create chaos. And Donald Trump is obviously the wolf. So he's going on this rant about how he's going to rescue Los Angeles.
That wasn't a real riot in Los Angeles. Is that what she said? Oh, I think it was a riot. I think it was very bad. It was covered really as a riot by almost everybody. What is the purpose of your meeting? We're going up to Camp David. We're meeting with various people about very major subjects. Now, we thought we're doing at Camp David. There's probably better security there than any place. We'll be meeting with a lot of people, including generals, as you know, and admirals. So we'll be meeting with military people and others.
So he doesn't know what he's doing. He says we're going to go to Camp David and we're going to be meeting with military people. Does that sound advanced? Does that sound like somebody that understands the rank and order, the command structure that's going on in the military? And the sad part is he didn't even mention Pete Kegsbreath. So what we see, ladies and gentlemen, is another instance of which Donald Trump demonstrates he's somehow the most incompetent, irresponsible, dangerous person on the face of the earth. And get this, he's the commander-in-chief and he has no clue what he's doing. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Any foreign visitors at Camp David?
Even if you don't plan to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you plan to send troops to Los Angeles?
What?
Even if you're not planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you still plan to send troops?
So are you planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, or are you planning to send troops to Los Angeles? The obvious answer would be, why would I do that? Why would I place Americans against Americans? That should be the obvious, most presidential answer. I wonder if Donald Trump is smart enough to give that answer.
We're going to have troops everywhere. We're not
We're
going to
have troops everywhere?
We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden.
Biden.
It's auto pen.
Auto pen.
Bar for sending Marines to
The bar is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about
Strong.
law and order.
Law and order? Really? Really?
We're going to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Oh.
Do you foresee those protests spreading to other cities, Chicago, New York, for example, in the next few days?
Yes, we're going to be watching it very closely. And when they spit at people, they spit.
They spit?
They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right?
What do they throw at him?
And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard. What are the rules?
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is him just showing the world not only can he be incompetent, but he can also be disgusting. Because what we all saw happen on January 6th was worse than spitting. We saw them actually throwing, I can't even say it because, my mom is watching, but throwing all over the United States Capitol. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even need to play the rest of this ridiculous interview. I just want you to know one thing. It ended with this guy right here trying to go into Air Force One and slipping and falling up the stairs. But good thing he had that handrail. You can see his knuckles. You can see the edges of the knuckles. They're really white because the grip had to be super tight because the fear that overcame him as he was going up there. The spirit, you know who did it? It was Joe Biden that pushed him. Joe Biden. I forgot to throw that in there. So Joe Biden pushed him on his way into Air Force One, which completely shows that he's obviously incompetent and he's too old to be in the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and warm up the lake of fire for Donald J. Trump, because this is another instance in which he's harming everyday Americans. He has no clue what he's doing. All of a sudden, he knows the word insurrection. All of a sudden, he has the power to command the National Guard. But where was all of that on January 6th? And his supporters, they have no defense for this other than to sit here and mock Democrats and make up lies. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send them straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
W Big Zeus. Here's the deal. And this is like, 6 months into Donald Trump's presidency, and I can't think of a single thing that he's accomplished. We are at one of the last things that he honestly is getting some sort of respect about accomplishing, because he was supposed to remember those 200 deals with 200 countries, 90 deals, 90 days. He's not done anything when it comes to the economy. No, he hasn't passed any real significant legislation. He hasn't actually achieved anything when it comes to mass deportation. So this is pretty much, honestly, one of the last things that he's able to do. Because if you all remember this movie we were in 2020, whenever the rioting starts and Donald Trump ends up in this situation, it means the end is near. W, Zeus. Because remember, isn't it funny that we're talking about insurrections again, right? And you got to think, when was the last time we were talking about an insurrection? Oh, January 6th. So January 6th, June 6th. And who was in charge of the country at both times? Donald Trump, W, Zeus. So we know he's an insurrectionist. We know it. Anytime Donald Trump is around, there's going to be an insurrection. Case closed. And guess who's going to be responsible for it? You, his supporters. This is why I say the greatest threat to our democracy, honestly, is not only an uninformed Trump supporter, but anybody that still is out here supporting Donald Trump in the middle of all of this treason that's being committed. I mean, seriously, how many people? W. Kabira! Thank you, my sister. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know they get jealous when you do that. Anybody, and I gotta say this because it really is serious. How could you sit here and allow Donald Trump to federalize the National Guard? I went and tried to look it up. How many people was ICE trying to get that? Because this all started with the ICE raids, right? The whole thing about mass deportations was, hey, he's only going to get the bad guys, the ones that are up here committing crime. He's not going after women and children, right? That's how this all started. But we have all seen the videos where ICE is repeatedly going after the most vulnerable people in the country. Immigrants who happen to be women and children. These people have no defense. And you're putting the full weight of the federal government on the weakest people in the country. So you're not getting the real criminals, you're getting the most vulnerable. So of course, the communities are going to respond and say, hey, in a peaceful way, this is unacceptable. Now, obviously, you got some bad actors out there, but look at all these millions and millions and millions, actually probably billions of dollars that have been spent to go after how many people? 11 people? And this is the party that loves to say they're all about balancing the budget and being fiscally responsible. Well, how much does it cost to nationalize the federal government? I mean, in terms of the National Guard and the Marines, they want to send 500 Marines in there. And I say, these people can't even, do Marines know how to arrest citizens? Does anyone know the answer to that? Do the Marines know how to arrest the citizens? Did Governor Gavin Newsom ask Donald Trump for the National Guard? And I got to put this rumor to bed, and then I'm going to play what Governor Gavin Newsom said, because this is serious. So I go on the X. You know what I did on X? I'll show you all. Look at this, because this is what I did over there on X. Sometimes you got to take the battle to X, right? What did I put there? I said, thank you, Governor Gavin Newsom, for your leadership through this manufactured crisis Trump has created. Shame on MAGA. And then I wrote, everything was peaceful until Trump sent the National Guard. Funny how he now has the authority to do so, but he didn't have the authority to do it on January 6th. So, in response to that, you got MAGA demons going around, and they're telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about because he did offer the National Guard on January 6th, but Nancy Pelosi, remember, Nancy Pelosi refused it. Do any Trump supporters still believe that lie right now? Any Trump supporter believe that? Because I want to make sure I look you in your eyes before I say what I got to say. Y'all still think Trump authorized the National Guard on January 6th? But Nancy Pelosi, she refused it. Oh, okay. Oh, DJ. Okay, I got you, DJ. Well, here's the thing, MAGA, and this is how you know God's judgment is truly upon you. Gavin Newsom has just released the actual memo that says he refused Trump's order for the National Guard in LA. He just released it saying, I'm going to sue Donald Trump because I didn't ask for the National Guard. But guess what, MAGA? Your dear leader overrode Gavin Newsom. So if he can override Gavin Newsom, surely he can override little old Nancy Pelosi. You see how I just caught you Trump supporters once again in your lies? Ladies and gentlemen, I got to warm up the lake of fire and send these MAGA demons straight to hell. Listen up, MAGA. Stop lying to us. You can lie to yourself, but stop lying to us and acting like we're going to believe it, because we don't. You've been exposed for the hypocrites you are. Now do me a favor and go straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Dame, she could deny, all right? She can allow, but that's not the moral to my story, bro. My moral to the story was, for some strange reason, he has the ability to override Gavin Newsom. That's the issue. So if he can override Gavin Newsom, and if we go along with your theory about Nancy Pelosi, the question then becomes, well, why did he just override Nancy Pelosi? And the answer is quite simple, because he was a part of the insurrection. W. Zeus. He was a part of it. Now, I got to let Gavin Newsom get some of this, because honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know who was, they say, we don't know who's the real leader of the Democrat Party. And as far as I'm concerned, we really don't need one. But what I see Gavin Newsom doing right now and leaning into this moment and standing up to Donald Trump is honestly some of the most incredible work that I've seen, because we got to start calling out the lies in real time, because when the dust settles, we're going to know where everybody stands on these very, very serious issues. So Gavin Newsom goes into his command center last night, and boy, oh boy, he delivered some crushing blows to you MAGA demons. All right, because we all know what this is really about. This is a distraction from the big, beautiful bill and what Elon said last week about about the dear leader being a certified lover boy, right?
Here with Governor Gavin Newsom. Governor, thanks for
We're not going to forget Epstein.
So this is, as I said, the Emergency Operations Center. I wonder how you would characterize the events that are unfolding in Los Angeles right now. Is it an emergency? Is it, Fox News is calling it the LA riots? Is it a peaceful protest? What's happening? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard.
Yeah.
An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a lawsuit tomorrow.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Sorry to interrupt you, but Governor, so that's news. If you're going to sue the administration, tell me a little bit about it. Give us a preview of this lawsuit.
Well, under his executive order, it specifically notes, and under what the DOD did, is they had to coordinate with the governor of the state. They never coordinate with the governor of the state. I've worked with the National Guard. We've deployed the National Guard. We did 3,000+ folks have been doing logistics work and fire recovery work, and they're fighting the fires, the rattlesnake teams. We did the same back in George Floyd. We have no problem working collaboratively in a mutual aid system with local law enforcement, but there's a protocol, there's a process. He didn't care about that. And the worst part, he completely lied. He said in a tweet that everything's now safe, everything's fine. Is that the case, Mr. Trump? He said because he deployed the National Guard. The Guard hadn't even been deployed when he said this. It's Orwellian. Simply lying to people. Unconstitutional, illegal act. His mess. We're trying to clean it up.
W. Gavin Newsom. But then it gets, you got to watch the rest of the interview, but then it gets very alarming, because now Tom Homan and Donald Trump want to start not just arresting judges, but now they want to arrest governors. This is why I say God's judgment is truly upon this nation.
Towards a constitutional question and crisis around posse comitatus. And it's, I think, inevitable. That's where he's going.
Tom Homan, the border czar, said to me yesterday, he did not rule out literally arresting you, nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his work. He said you had him yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me.
Ooh.
But you know what? Lay your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Lay your hands off these poor people that are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes. Been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
W. Gavin Newsom. So now you want to arrest the governors. How many so-called illegal people have you gotten, MAGA, right? How many migrants have you gotten? Now you want to arrest the governor. This is why I say God's judgment is truly upon y'all. And y'all are prime candidates for hell. And the funny thing about this, it's not really funny. A lot of y'all went to church, worshiped the devil, came out, and then started doing what you're doing right now, going after the widows and the children, which is totally against the good book. You Trump supporters, I tell you, I don't know how y'all live with yourselves and look in the mirror and actually really truly try to act like y'all some good people. You're not good people. W. Zeus. All right, but we're gonna let Gavin Newsom wrap it up by saying a few choice words about what this is really about.
Other words.
Oh, he's a master of distraction. He's the commander of chaos. That's what Donald Trump does. Moves this direction, move that direction. I mean, look, this guy is 90 days, 90 beautiful deals. How many deals? Zero. In the UK, give me a break.
Give us a break.
I mean, Elon Musk is the sycophant of sycophants as it relates to this love relationship that he had with the president of the United States. Said it exactly right. We're likely in a recession the second half of the year because of the recklessness of this tariff policy under this administration. Yeah. He's just saddled our kids and grandkids with $2.5 trillion of debt to get billionaires and corporations a tax break that they're not even asking for. Of course he's trying to distract us.
I have a feeling there's a pretty good chance that in the White House there might be a television on and he might be watching us
I hope so.
right now.
Yeah, he can learn something.
What might you say to him if I'll give you the floor, you have the opportunity, what you weren't able to say to him on that phone call or calls that he hasn't taken today?
Where's your decency, Mr. President? Stop. Rescind this order. It's illegal and unconstitutional. And I said it, I'll say it again, it's immoral. You're creating the conditions that you claim you're solving, and you're not. And you're putting real people's lives at risk. This is a serious moment, and it requires serious leadership. And it's time for you to be a commander-in-chief of the United States of America. And I will have your back if you want to work in a relationship of trust and truth in the spirit of our founding fathers. But you come after poor kids, you come after families, we will do everything in our power to stand up and stand in your way.
W. Gavin Newsom. I mean, and Gavin Newsom wasn't just talking to Donald Trump. He also had something to say to Pete Kegsbreath. This is a different interview, but the energy is there. What did he have to say about Pete Kegsbreath, ladies and gentlemen? All right.
Do you have any confidence that Pete Hegseth will be as principled as Mark Esper was?
Hegseth's a joke. He's a joke. Everybody knows it. So in over his head. What an embarrassment. That's this guy's weakness masquerading as strength. I don't even know he masquerades as strength. I mean, serious moment. I mean, this Human guy, these guys, it's the band of misfits. Yeah. It really is. This is serious. The people's lives are at stake. The reputation of this country is at stake. Great American cities and states. It's not just, this is a preview for things to come. This isn't about LA per se. It's about us today. It's about you, everyone watching tomorrow. I promise you. I mean, this guy's unhinged. Donald Trump is unhinged right now. And this is just another proof point of that.
W. Gavin Newsom. All right. So now that we've gotten that, we've addressed it. It's now we got to do one last round of the Lake of Fire, and then I'm going to go to the audience and start talking to the brave men and women out there that are willing to come up here and tell the truth. I got to do one last round of the Lake of Fire, and this is for all the Trump supporters out there that are somehow thinking that attacking women and children the way Donald Trump is a good thing, but then they like to sit up on TikTok and tell us, oh, I've done so much work to protect kids, and we should protect women. No, you don't believe that at all. The only thing you're concerned about protecting is your dear leader. And that's sick. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send these demons one more time where they belong. Straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
I see some folks is out there getting triggered by the amount of truth and information me and Gavin Newsom and all of you out there who are giving them. It's a lot of truth and y'all can't handle it. Well, it's like I said at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
W Zeus. All right. Let's go to the box. Do we have any Trump supporters out there? Who wants to come up first, ladies and gentlemen? We have any Trump supporters out there? Please put a 1 in the chat. I'll bring you right on up here. Where is Becky at? Remember Becky? She was in the audience. Or did I totally ruin her morning? I did. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter. We'll start off with you, hopefully. And what I'll do is I'll get that demon straightened out. All right. But you got to be willing to listen. All right. All right. Johnny, come on up here, Johnny. All right. Come on up here. Let's do it, Johnny. Yeah, because what I don't like to do, Johnny, send a guest request. All right. I might not be able to get you to. Okay. There you go. Johnny, you got to send me a guest request because I can't send you an invite. All right, send me a guest request, and what I'll do is I'll bring you right on up here. But you got to be willing to tell the truth. Put a 1 in the chat, and I'll bring you right on up here. W. Shauna, thank you so much for the subscription. So look at this, ladies and gentlemen. What I've done is I've totally embarrassed MAGA today because there's nothing that they can actually get up here and successfully try to discuss and share with us that actually. Oh, look at this. Who do we got? Good morning, Shay. Nice to see you. You can leave right now. Burn our flag and our city. You can leave. Mr. Biggs, I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to yourself, Mr. Biggs? Huh? All right. Send me a guest request. All right. Put a 1 in the chat. All right. Where are the MAGA demons at? Oh, there you go. There you go, Shelly. There you go, Shelly. Come on up here, Shelly. You look happy, Shelly. Come on up here. Carmen, come on up here. Carmen, send me a guest request. One of y'all. Shelly. Good morning. You supported Donald Trump, Shelly? Shelly, are you there? Shelly, are you there? Shelly. Shelly, can you hear me? So, Shelly, you obviously don't know how to use TikTok, but you somehow ended up in here. What should I do with her, ladies and gentlemen? Do we do the Lake of Fire with Shelly? Yes, no, maybe so. Shelly, can you hear me? Going once? Somebody said Starlink. Shelly, I'm going to drop you back there. W Zeus, that was easy. You know what it is? They're all talk in the comment section, but then when they get in the box and face judgment, it all of a sudden starts to hit close to home. They start to realize, oh my goodness, I might actually end up being repeated for what I say, and I don't think what I'm saying makes any sense, and that's the whole point. Oh, Glenn, come on up here, Glenn. You begging for a Trump supporter. Who needs who? Glenn, I don't need you, Glenn. As a matter of fact, this is your opportunity, because if you haven't noticed, Glenn, I've been rocking and rolling and cooking and booking for a while. Look at, hey, Glenn, if I wanted to, Glenn, in all honesty, I could just keep on going because there's so much truth out there that I could keep using to steamroll you. All right. But a lot of times folks like yourself, they send me messages or they leave comments on my videos and they say, Zeus, please just give us a chance. All right. You got to hear our side of the story. And so what I'm doing, Glenn, with 2 N's, is I'm giving you an opportunity to share your side of the story so that you ultimately might not end up really truly going straight to hell, Glenn. But here's the thing, Glenn, and you know what I'm going to do, Glenn, since you don't want to come up here, I'm going to send you straight to hell. How about that? Hey, Glenn, the reason why I got to do shows like this and the reason why there's all these other wonderful people that come up here, some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans, and some of them are independent, but they all love the truth. Glenn, I'm going to send you to hell because instead of apologizing for what happened on January 6th and acknowledging that your dear leader has been overseeing 2 insurrections in this country, so to speak, you're going to get up here and start trying to act like the victim. And I don't allow people like you, Glenn, to be victims. Absolutely not. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send Glenn straight to hell. Goodbye, Glenn.
Silence, you MAGA Daily.
Well, then there we go. Johnny, Johnny, I can't send you an invite, but you're more than welcome to send me a guest request. All right, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. So MAGA doesn't need help to destroy Babylon. Oh my goodness. I don't know if that's a Trump supporter, but your name 666 Savage. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of demonic right there. Thank you, little hawk. All right. Let's see. Put a 1 in the chat. Yeah, they're chicken right now. Put a 1 in the chat if they're a Trump supporter. All right, we're going to give them a little bit of time to get this straight. All right, listen up, MAGA. I thought you all were thrilled that your dear leader was successfully running this country. But as you can see, you can't point out anything that he's done. Oh, look at that. Okay, Star, I'm sending you a guest request, Star. I saw you before, and okay, there we go. Let me go. Tootsie Pop, are you a Trump supporter? Okay, yeah. They say I'm begging for Trump supporters. No. It's the other way around. Trump supporters are actually begging me to stop delivering so much truth, but they can't handle it. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to find them. All right, hold on. There you, Jesus. There you go. Star. Yeah, there you go. I sent you. Trump. All right, Josh, come on up here, Josh. You all would think that these folks would be super excited. They would be super excited to get. Okay, there you are, Star. Maybe I can't send an invite, but okay. Hopefully this works. Good morning. Yeah, you voted for Trump.
Good morning. Yeah, you're a lot more energetic than me this morning.
Oh,
very little sleep, but I did vote for Trump this time.
Okay.
Just to give myself a little credit, though, I didn't vote for him 3 times. I only voted for him once.
Do you regret doing it now?
I don't know if I'm super on the board of being able to regret it, because from my experience, this would be like kind of asking if I wish Mrs. Harris was president instead.
Yeah, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I really.
So a hard head makes for a soft. You know what, right?
Well,
what has Donald Trump actually accomplished?
Well, for me, Donald Trump has accomplished some things. So, for instance, like. When we had a pretty abysmal track record when it came to the Middle East under the Biden administration, and including the super alliance of China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia.
Are you in either of those countries? Where are you at? You're in the United States?
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on some of our more domestic issues, because I don't even think if you start talking about foreign policy, I honestly don't know what Trump understands about foreign policy, especially when the conflicts are still going on. So we're not even going to open that can of worms, because if you can't say the conflicts have ended, then it's over. You know what I mean?
Well, I do know the conflicts a little bit, because I do.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our opinion about the conflicts, but they're still going on, right?
Well, not necessarily. So when Trump, like for instance, under Biden, when there was the Houthis shooting at the pew-pewing, I guess I should use
early. Say that. But so you said that the Gaza and Israel conflict, it's ended.
No. I'm not talking about Gaza, Israel. I'm talking about the Houthis and the maritime trade route.
Yeah. What about it? That's still happening.
And by the way, regarding Israel Gaza,
well, I'm just listen. I don't want to start. I don't want to get into that. Only thing I want to know when you bring up those things is, did he end it like he said he was?
Yeah. So what happened was,
did he end it
when Trump put a campaign against the Houthis, which were
the one Pete Kegsbreath leaked through Signal. That story?
No, he didn't leak it through Signal. He did have.
Oh no, he did.
No,
see, you can't. You star. How old are you? How old are you, champ?
I'm 29. You're a little older than me.
All right, but and I appreciate that you really are trying to put up the best defense, but there is no way of defending lies. Lies are lies. That's why they are called lies.
Sure. I agree.
That's why they call them lies.
Yeah, sure.
So you lied and you said he didn't leak the attack plans through Signal, and he didn't share it with his wife and his brother. He did.
I don't think Pete Hegseth did that. What happened was a little bit different from what I remember the story. It wasn't that Pete Hegseth had. It was that he had some people in his contacts that were like supposedly like Russian or something. That was
so his phone was hacked. That's actually true. His phone number is out there, and the Russians do have it. But Star, once again, you know enough to be dangerous, but you're not telling the God's honest truth. Pete Kegsbreath honestly intentionally leaked the information because he's bragging about it. He's actually bragging, and he sent it to his wife, his brother, J.D. Vance, and all these other people. The reporter, he did it. So we're going to go ahead and say he did that, and then
Trump thing I did like though, because regardless of whether or not Pete Hegseth did leak it, I'll have to look into the story more. Let's just be honest, I don't know enough about
Of course not. That's always the good answer.
But when it came to Houthis and when they were pew-pewing at ships and stopping the maritime trade, which is the number one trade route, which was affecting 1% of trade, which ended up impacting 10% of the economy because it's the number one trade route. Well, when he launched his campaign against the Houthis, and you know their flag says "Unalive America" on it first since their establishment in the 80s, they actually stopped pew-pewing or booming at ships in the maritime trade route after America's campaign.
Okay, so you believe that. You believe that in your core. You believe all that. Fine. I understand I'm not gonna be able to convince you that what you're saying isn't accurate. I understand that, but for the sake of this show. Did Donald Trump end the conflict in Israel, between Israel and Gaza? Did he end it like he said he would?
I actually, yeah, he did in some ways. So what he did was he did in some ways. I'll tell you what he did do.
Okay. I got to strike you with one strike. That's a lie. What about Ukraine? Did he end that with Russia and Ukraine? Because remember, he said
Ukraine was probably his worst. Is probably his worst case from.
So then we're gonna leave the foreign matters alone. Did he ever purchase Greenland or anything like that?
He's made progress into pressuring.
Did he do it? Did he ever make Canada the 51st state?
Look, you can throw a lot of
Star. What I'm doing is showing you that all I do is listen to what your dear leader says and tries to get him to deliver on those things, even though I emphatically disagree with it. He's the president, and if he says he's going to do something, then at least he should follow through with it. Otherwise, he's just wasting my time, and he's wasting American people's money, the taxpayer dollars. Aren't you for being fiscally responsible?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, but how is it fiscally responsible when he's wasting all this money for projects he has no intention of completing or following through with?
Well,
you see the issue here.
You put out some of his most provocative comments out there. To be fair, like 51st state and taking Greenland. By the way, the reason we want to take Greenland is because if Greenland isn't taken and it's such a huge landmass, China will just.
I didn't ask you, Star.
But that's what Trump is doing.
I gotta break it down to you. You don't get to go into the courtroom and explain why you committed the crime, so to speak, and then think that's going to be a good defense. You either did it or you didn't, right? And you know how this goes. So I don't want to hear your justifications.
Yeah, but
I'm looking for outcomes. I'm looking for outcomes, and what I'm pointing out to you is Donald Trump isn't delivering on any of the outcomes that you claim you are concerned about. So why not just acknowledge that? Why not just sit here for 6 months? He's been gaslighting for 6 months. He's been gaslighting you, and you honestly have nothing to hang your hat on with this guy. And then you're going to still sit up here and tell me, huh?
I mean,
come on, give us something.
I'll give you something. Look, when we had Joe Biden, we had probably the most disastrous DNC that we've ever seen in American history. We needed somebody 100 times better than Joe Biden. Instead, we got somebody like Mrs. Harris and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump seemed like the most obvious choice. If you're going to go with Mrs. Harris, she's the one who says she studied the maps and she placed JDAM restrictions on Israel during a time of war. And she also didn't let the shadow.
Okay, all right. So Star, I'm gonna relieve you of having to even further do what you're doing. I think I've concluded that fine, you will defend Donald Trump. You will defend. Hold on. You will defend Donald Trump no matter what. That's I think the lesson of today.
This is what I'll say for myself in my own defense. I would not defend Donald Trump no matter what. Matter of fact, I am super critical of his $1.4 trillion deal with Qatar, which was a nation in the 80s which funded Al Jazeera, the Arab Springs, and lobbies in the United States. So there are.
You mean the jet? You mean the jet that he got? You're against that.
There's a jet.
Are you against?
1.4?
Yeah. But are you against him? Are you against him getting the jet?
Yeah, I'm against.
Isn't it funny? Now, we were just talking about outcomes and how he's not really able to actually deliver on the outcomes he promised you. And you actually said some of them were on his far outside. Wouldn't you say getting Qatar to give him a jet and telling us that it was free, isn't that far out?
I don't think he asked for the jet. I think Qatar.
No, he begged for it.
I'm pretty sure Qatar.
He begged for it. So isn't that funny that was one of his far out things that he said he was going to do? And the funny thing is, he actually did it. He actually did it. So what we see is he is capable of doing things, but it's just funny that the things he campaigned on, he hasn't done. So once again, if you don't learn anything from this discussion today, it's this. You can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to us. You got that?
All right. Yeah.
You got that?
I'm not trying to lie to anyone.
But you're lying to yourself.
I'm not lying to myself. I told you something. I disagree with Trump, and I wouldn't die for Trump, and I wouldn't say that I mean even MAGA. I just had to vote for him because Mrs. Harris was an abysmal option to the DNC.
No. So okay. So let me explain that logic too, because I was about to move on, but I got to address this. You always have a choice, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you can't blame Kamala Harris, right, for the decisions you are making. And that narrative that she was an abysmal choice, it only works in the spaces you inhabit, where the MAGA demon resides. But in the real world, everyone knows that Vice President Kamala Harris, her plan, the opportunity economy, wouldn't have had us in this situation. We all know that Vice President Kamala Harris actually had good relationships with our allies, and that we could have actually pressured her to get her to do the things. No. We all know Vice President Kamala Harris is actually a lot smarter than Donald Trump. We know these things to be true. All right. And we know that she would not be sitting here overseeing an insurrection like your dear leader is once again saying he's doing. So I can't buy that argument. The thing is this. You didn't want to vote for a black woman. Because
Hillary Clinton.
No, did you hear what I just said?
You said a woman, a black woman.
Yeah.
I voted for Obama, who is black. I voted for Hillary, who is a woman. So you're wrong on both accounts.
Okay, so 2 = 1 in your world. Got it. But that's not what I just said. I said a black woman.
I have no problem with black people and women.
Okay.
I just think Miss Harris was the worst option of all time.
No, okay. Let me help you understand that you do. The fact that you said you don't means you do. Because that's what a lot of liars do. I don't have a problem with this,
Dude,
and they're addicted. No. And
you're
addicted to something, and you go, "Oh, I don't have a problem with this." I mean, I've heard this before.
That's disingenuous.
So, does Donald Trump have a problem with Kamala Harris? Does Donald Trump have a problem with Kamala Harris?
Donald Trump has a problem with Kamala Harris, and I think...
Yeah. And so you voted for Donald Trump too, right? So I'm going to use some little math on you, and what I'll do is say, W. Zeus, if you support Donald Trump, obviously you have a problem with Kamala Harris as well, because your dear leader requires you to. Just like you have a problem with Joe Biden. And so, Star, once again, I got to move it on. You tried, but you lied. Ladies and gentlemen, Star tried and he lied, and unfortunately, he's got to fry. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Star is sick. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send Star where he belongs. Straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demons.
Y'all got a lot of gas in the tank when it comes to lies. I've never heard so much rambling in my life. And guess what? We didn't get anywhere with that conversation. We didn't get anywhere at all, except for, I don't like Vice President Kamala Harris. Why? What did she do? Oh, she was a terrible person. Well, what made her a terrible person? And that's how it always goes with you. All right, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. We got to bring up our next panelist. Oh, who do we have next? Oh, my goodness. Good morning, Val. Welcome, Val. How are you doing?
laughing at this very moment.
Well, it's funny, but it's also serious, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got to ask you a question, Zeus.
Yeah.
When did education, experience in a field, proven outcomes actually become bad?
When Donald Trump got involved, I would say.
Shocking.
Yeah. W Val for that, because that's true.
That's what you witnessed with your last guess, right?
Yeah.
And the lies. I mean, come on. Dude, you can go around and tell all your buddies and everybody you want to think, who you voted for. But rest assured, when you say I voted for Hillary Clinton and I voted for Barack Obama, we know you're lying. Okay? Rest assured we know you're lying. Because that kind of thinking that you have right now doesn't believe in human rights.
Thank you. Listen, Star. Listen, DJ. Listen, all you demons. These people. Do you think that subconsciously they are really struggling to justify supporting Donald Trump at this moment? Because we're 6 months in. Trump is calling what's happening in LA an insurrection.
God, I feel like a repeater sometimes. Pride unalives. We witnessed over this weekend the pride that y'all people have for this man and what in the policies he's put forth are now going after every right we have loved in this country. The only people that have rights in this country are the ultra wealthy right now. I mean, you want to go against crime, but you let crime out of prison. You want to say you're trying to stop an insurrection? Oh, and that you couldn't control the National Guard, but obviously you can control the National Guard. I mean, I don't think y'all understand the amount of lies that have been exposed over the course of this week. Y'all really don't.
Wow.
I mean, it's ridiculous what we're watching across this country right now. It's ridiculous what we just witnessed in LA. It's going to be ridiculous what we witness in New York, Chicago, because they're next, right?
Yeah.
These are the things that when people stand up and fight, when people stand up and go, enough's enough, when people are baited into a situation, because that's what happened this weekend, people.
They were baited into the situation. Could you elaborate on that? Because I'm hearing from the right, or Donald Trump posted it, and they're repeating it. Paid insurrectionists.
Paid insurrectionists. Let's see. We pull into a Home Depot. We shoot a canister into a car, set it on fire. Not the people. The government.
Wow. Ain't that something?
And then we don't expect an outcome from behavior like that. We go after people that some are U.S. citizens. We hold and detain them without Fourth Amendment rights. We keep, you know what I'm saying? We go after the public. People, yesterday.
Yeah.
Or this would have been Saturday night, I think. Saturday night in California, an Australian reporter was sitting there reporting on what's going on by herself with her camera crew, reporting what was going on. Shot in the back with a rubber bullet from right behind her. You could see the whole thing. Guy just turned and fired at her. These people are out of their mind. When you go into situations like that, you are actually promoting violence. You're supposed to be defensive. I'll tell you all a story. In Texas, back when the BLM protests were going on, we had a group of people that, got things hyped up, trying to get the protesters to go offline, and the protesters were starting to get upset about it. I'm going to tell you what the Dallas Police Department did. Dallas Police Department backed out of the situation. They backed completely out of the situation. And you know what happened an hour later?
What's that?
Everyone went home.
Wow. Wow.
Police officers in this country are supposed to de-escalate. Our government is supposed to de-escalate situations, not escalate them.
Thank you. Exactly. Now, you were talking, Val, and Dame decided he wanted to come up here. And I hope apologize. Dame, are you there? You came up here and Val was talking. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I hit mute. I thought you were on mute. You can hit unmute if you can.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Zeus?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. What do you have to say about what's happening right now? We have a president that shows he knows how to use the National Guard all of a sudden.
Okay, I want to ask you guys if National Guard is not the next step, especially for Val, because he's the one that triggered me to want to come up. So if you don't use the National Guard, if you have a governor that's pretty much telling the people they have the right to go against ICE, what is
Well,
the
no,
next
no.
step?
Hold on a second. Now, I want to make something real clear. Gavin Newsom never told anybody to for violence. Protesting is allowed by our Constitution. So Gavin Newsom's only response to somebody protesting is to let them, because that is the Constitution. That's
Even
all
if
his
you
response could be.
Peacefully.
Yeah, peacefully. But they had the situation under control. They were moving forward in the situation and had it under control, and actually had it tamped down Friday night. Then these people came in with more. Do you remember the restocking of the rubber bullets, sir?
again, what
Okay, and then they started
what
just
would
firing
be,
them at
Mr.
people.
Val? What would
They
be your
started firing them at
solution?
people, sir. You are going to get a response when you initiate one. It is not for our government to initiate a response. If some people are peacefully protesting, that's good. Just like they did on the freeway months ago. If y'all will remember this, in LA months ago, the police stood made a line at the bridge. Everybody else protested about 100 feet away, said their piece as long as they wanted to say their piece, and then walked away. No one got hurt.
Now, Dame, I think you're processing this. Is there anything left to clear up on your end, or why? What are you resisting? Is the question I got? Why are you resisting all of this truth?
I'm not resisting anything. I just really dislike when people omit information. At the end of the day, yeah, we have the
Well,
right to
admitted.
protest.
What was omitted?
Well, he's admitting what's actually going on. He's acting like those people were provoked, and they weren't. They weren't provoked. They're literally trying to stop the authorized deportation that was appointed by our sitting president. So
Do you really believe that, Dame? Do you really
Yeah, I mean,
deep in
you
your
want to
soul
talk about
believe that?
omitting?
do
Sir,
you understand? Do you
let's
understand?
talk
Hold on,
about the
time
fact that
out,
these
sir.
people
I'll
are
let you
trying to
talk,
act like they're
sir.
law
Do you
enforcement without
understand that?
showing any ID. Come
See,
on,
this is
Dane.
why I
Let's
say I
talk
don't like
about
these
that.
guys.
Let's
Go
talk
for it.
about how they're
Okay,
wearing masks
look,
and
sir,
not showing
they were
ID
carrying out,
to the
bro. The
general
people.
public. They're
Oh
just
my
saying
God!
who they are. You can't
Listen,
do that,
listen.
Dane. You do realize that, right?
These
Hey,
people are
Dane, I'm a
so
police officer. I
radical.
want to take you
Look,
in. How about it?
okay, so like I said, since
Do
you're a
you get
cop,
it
you
now,
should
Dane?
understand that that city and that leadership is so radical that the actual LAPD regular police were doing a
Dame,
D-Rug
you're using
raid.
words like radical. They're not being radical. There was no
So it's
issue.
not radical when
There
they're
was
actually
no
taking
issue
smug
till they
dealers.
decided to fire.
Zeus, come on, Zeus, we
When
gotta
they,
do this
Until
when
they
right,
they,
man.
decided to set a
hold
car
on,
on
we
fire.
got to do one at a time. One at
Yeah.
a time.
All right, Val. So they're literally carrying out smug dealer raids to get smug dealers, nothing to do with illegals. And this is why you're radical, and everything you're spewing is radical because
I'm
you got
radical because I
people
want to
that's
know
going
there's a
against
police
ICE,
officer, an actual
stopping
police officer in
actual
front of me.
police officers from getting smugs off the street because they think they're trying to come in there and
Okay.
deport somebody.
Okay.
That's
So
radical,
let me
bro.
make sure I understand your question.
You're impeding law enforcement, bro. That's radical.
So Dame, let me make sure I understand this
What are you
question.
talking about?
Your perception is that ICE is going after criminals, not immigrants, the people who are in the country illegally. They're doing the work that basically law
Zeus,
enforcement should be doing. Is that what your angle
Zeus.
is? I'm confused.
My angle is Tom Homan is trying to get access to the jails because that's what the criminals are, Zeus. The illegals that already have deportation
The
orders.
criminals are in the
Hold on, Zeus.
jails?
Zeus,
Ain't
there's
that where they belong?
criminals. There's criminals that are here illegally that have charges that are locked up in some of these sanctuary cities that have not yet been deported. They have denied Tom Homan access to get
Sir,
in the
hold on a
jails.
minute.
So
Hold
you
on. Hold
can't
on.
I've
I
cry
want to
never
make
about.
heard
sure. I
this.
want to make
Oh
sure he
my God,
understands
bro.
something. Hold
So
on.
you can't
Stop right
cry
there, Dane.
about.
Stop right there, Dane. I
Man,
want
no,
to
you
make
can't tell
sure
me to
you
stop.
understand
No,
something,
you can't
Dane.
tell me to stop. What the hell? You
Yeah,
think
I
you
can.
are, bro?
I didn't know I didn't have a voice.
I wasn't finished.
Okay.
You can't just tell me to
Gentlemen,
stop in the
let's
middle of my damn sentence.
listen.
What
You
the hell is
can't.
wrong with
But
Hold on,
Dane, I
hold
want
on.
to
But you
answer
said
I
your
got
Trump is
question.
racist. That's racist, bro.
gentlemen. Obviously, there's only one God in
Trump
the
is a racist,
kingdom, and it's
y'all.
Zeus. We don't need to do that. But I want to make sure I'm understanding the angle you're saying. Gavin Newsom has said he's cooperating with Tom Homan to exchange criminals for deportation. I don't believe that's what has the community up in a riot right now.
Zeus.
What Val is saying is you have these ICE raids that are occurring they're not getting criminals, they're getting women and children, and the neighborhoods are responding to that. That's how this got started.
I don't agree with innocent, non-harmful people getting deported first. Yes, he said he was going to do the criminals first, but I'm trying to explain what a problem lies with that. A lot of the illegals are in jail already for other charges. They got multiple charges, a lot of these people. And the Democrats in these cities, the mayors, have denied Tom Homan and ICE access to the jails. Aren't the criminals in jail? So if they're not allowing them access to these jails, you can look it up. Don't believe me. Johnson, the guy in freaking Chicago, all of these major sanctuary cities, they won't give ICE and Tom Homan access to the jails. That's where a lot of the criminals are. So you can't cry and say he's not taking out no criminals when they won't allow him. They have to go to court, go up to the Supreme Court just to get access to some of these jails. So
And may
now
I
tell your
answer
chat,
that
fact
now?
check that if I'm lying about that.
May I answer that now?
Nice, Val. Thank you, Val. I like this. We're
When
gonna
when
get
a
Dame where he
when a
belongs.
when somebody commits a crime in this country, immigrant or not, okay? When they commit a crime in this country, they're in this country's jurisdiction. Therefore, they will serve time in this country's jurisdiction. Because the last thing you want to do with a dangerous criminal is deport them somewhere where they might just be released. This has been a problem in the past. This is why the person that did unalive that woman is still in prison in the U.S.
So did ICE not get denied access to the jails where a lot of the illegal
Because
criminals
these
are?
people are either in jail being charged, will go through charges, and that process will take place. They're in the system and they're where they're supposed to be, sir. By your own example, they're where they're supposed to be.
In jail. Now, Dame,
Okay.
I also wanted to know what I looked at is out of the 44 people that have been arrested in this little period of time, only 11 of them really had criminal records. So you see the problem here. The narrative you're suggesting is out there isn't really what's happening for a majority of these scenarios, which is why the neighborhoods and these communities are responding the way that they are. It's wrong to go after women and children and to just start snatching them up out of the high schools, their elementary schools, going to their graduations and just hunting these people. This is wrong behavior, Dame, and you know it.
Uh, I blame the parents. I have like massive sympathy for any kids that has to go through anything that their parents was irresponsible of not following through with. I have the highest capacity. I mean, yes, the highest capacity of sympathy I can for any any innocent children that get swept up in the ICE raid. And most people that I talk to do, and I don't care what nobody say, they do care. But at the
And
same
Dane,
time,
I get
that
that you
doesn't.
care. I get that you care. But one thing you keep saying is wrong. That they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay? That is wrong, sir. The problem with the audio that's being played with the child being ripped away from her mom is the mom was actually doing the right thing. The mom was actually in the process. The mom was showing up to her court dates. She was going through the system and her check-ins. She hadn't missed a one. This is the problem, Dane. They're throwing people out of this country, no matter of their actual status, to try to get a number. If I recall correctly,
No, no,
this is
no,
that.
no.
If
It's
I
not just
recall
that. It's
correctly,
not just
Dane,
that. It's
this
the
is
fact that,
exactly.
Wait, he was
listen, this
still
is
speaking.
I
Remember,
still
my
he
bad,
speaking,
my
created
bad,
Dane.
these rules.
Dane, I
my
shut up
bad,
for you, right?
my bad.
Yeah, he created these rules. W Val, we caught Dame slipping once again. I mean, the demon.
But
Tell the
Dane, here's
demon
the
not
issue.
today.
Yeah, here's the issue, Dane. We have a group of people running around playing law enforcement, not identifying themselves. That's the first problem with this. Okay. The second problem with this is, and I want you to remember that the reason y'all did not want DEI is because you did not want quotas. Because quotas hurt people, right? That was y'all's argument for a long time, correct? Okay. Now you've got a president trying to meet a number because he can't get there. And now he's actually deporting people that have done the work, have come in the correct way, are keeping up with their appointments, are doing the things they're supposed to do. Dane, the question you need to ask yourself is why 90% of the people that were sent to the El Salvadorian prison do not have any criminal record whatsoever.
That's just not true.
That
That's
is
just
true.
not true. I won't
That
let
is
you
true,
spew
Dane.
that, plant
That
that,
actually
plant
is
that
true.
fake news seed in my head. No, it's not. It's not
Yes, it
true.
is, Dane.
Dame,
Not
I
true.
just told you 11 out of the 44 that they got in LA, right? Were only 11 they say may have had prior crimes. You're not going to get 20 million people, because this is the number you all keep saying have been allowed in the country under Joe Biden. If you got 20 million people, where are you getting? All of them can't be criminals.
Zeus, I'm trying to tell you what the criminals are. And text, they will not. Uh, these jails, okay, they will not act on the detainers. ICE has detainer for these folks. For instance, Texas, ICE issued 3,450 detainers. 428 individuals was actually taken into custody. Similarly, in California, 3,203 detainers were issued, yet only 63 individuals were detained by ICE. So it's about these jails not honoring the detainers. The
It's not
criminals
about
are
that,
in
Dane.
jail, a lot of them. A lot of them are awaiting sentencing. So besides letting them stay in America, pay for the tax, like stay on our taxpayer dollar, let's deport these criminals, make it hard for them to come back to America. But if they can't access the jails to get the worst of the worst criminals, of course they're going to get whoever else is on the street.
Dame,
And honestly,
Dane, these
during the
people could.
campaign,
Go ahead,
hold
I'm
on,
listening.
during the campaign, he said, "Yeah, we're going to get the criminals first, but we will deport anybody else too that's in here illegally." They did say that. They did. I give y'all the fact that they said they would do the criminals first, but he didn't
okay,
like he
but
didn't shy away from the fact that if you in here illegally, you're going to get
so
deported
Dane,
out of
but that goes
everybody.
against you
He didn't
saying
not say that.
that goes against you just saying a moment ago you are trying to protect women and children. You just said that you're for protecting women and children, but now you're actually saying, well, it's okay because Trump said he was going to go after women and
No, I
children.
didn't say no. I'm just saying like it's not like this is some surprise. He's been running on this is what he was going to
no,
do after
Dane,
he was.
hold on, I'll give you that. We are not surprised by what he's
This is
doing.
not like a surprise. He
No,
said he
you're
would do
right.
it. It's just
We're
a lot
not
of these people
surprised
thought he was
we're
just
not
talking.
surprised what he's doing, Dane.
This is
You're
sad, Dame.
correct. You're absolutely correct, Dane. We are not surprised. But you know what we are surprised of?
How
People
you?
people like you that support harm.
That's surprising.
I don't support harm at all. I don't look at deporting somebody to their homeland.
Where have most of the deportations happened? Where have most of the deportations happened?
There's Ukrainian people getting deported. There's Asian people getting deported.
Dame, focus on his question.
He's asking me, where has it happened? It's happening everywhere.
No, it's happened in the courts.
What do you mean?
He has put people in courts and have ICE setting in courts. When these people show up for their court dates, they're taking them before they even see the judge.
Dame.
Barack would set up stuff and act like they need to renew stuff, and they would get deported.
Now he's on Barack. Now he's on Barack Obama. Dame. We need you to just plant your flag where you stand. Either you are for harming women and children, or you're against it. Which one is it? Because I'm confused. I'm confused by the way you're talking. You're talking out of both sides, and then you can't bring up a Democrat.
No. I said I have sympathy for the kids, but the parents put them in a terrible position.
Dane, you've repeated that. And I just explained to you that most of these people were doing the right thing.
I only feel sympathy for the innocent kids that's getting caught up in the collateral of this mess, because they literally they're literally 100% innocent. As a full-grown adult,
there's useless and there's useless, and this is useless.
Dame,
because you
don't understand that most of these people are doing the right thing, are showing up for their dates, are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I can't help you, Dane.
Yeah, I'm with him. I'm Dame. We're at a moment now with this conversation where I just think the only issue is you're just struggling to be honest with yourself about how cold-hearted you are, and this is where you're at. There's nothing you could actually do to convince me, and I'm a free-thinking person, right? I don't need a leader to tell me how to be a good person, and I could detect right from wrong miles and miles away. It does never, in my mind, it never looks good to see a bunch of armed men in uniform with, pews and weapons and stuff going and grabbing women and children. That just never looks, that the angle, the optics to that, it's not going to sit right with me. And then if you add in this whole, they came into the country illegally. Hypothetically, that's it. Okay. But then, like Val said, but they're trying to do the right thing and you still go and do that to them? That's crazy.
Guess what, Zeus?
That's crazy. I mean, that's like, because that could happen.
Let me tell you this, Zeus.
You don't think that's crazy?
It is crazy, but let me tell you this, Zeus. I grew up in New Orleans, where a lot of my family members and people I grew up around had men in army-looking suits come bust in their house a lot of times for what their parents did, and their kids were subjected to see that same thing. When you do something wrong, unfortunately, it's going to affect your kids. If you're selling smugs in your home and they come in, they're going to come in looking just like ICE, but just with a little more weapons. And your kids is going to be traumatized. They're going to take your kids out. You're going to go to jail. And if there's nobody there directly to be with your kids, they're going to be traumatized. That happens in America every day.
Let's stop it. And this is what it is right here.
Let's stop letting people like Bell come in. No.
This is what it's about right here, bro.
And gaslight us.
Oh my God, this is
and
ridiculous.
Be sorry for immigrants when this same type of stuff happens to us as Americans. Our kids have to pay for the wrong
The difference in your nice little story there is those police officers
every day in America.
Lord, I can't.
Dave, you're crashing out, bro. You're crashing out.
See, that's how the Democrats do.
He's crashed completely out.
Dude, bro.
Dane, here's the thing.
This is crazy.
Your nice little false equivalency right there failed to mention one thing. That those police that came through that front door identified themselves, showed their ID, and brought warrants.
They followed the law when they executed what they did, Dame. And there's an old saying, Dame.
That's not true at all.
Dame, you ever heard the saying, hurt people hurt people? Because what you've unpacked is the trauma that's going on. And this is probably why a lot of Trump supporters are sick. They're sick like that, right? It happened to me, so I'm okay with it happening. But if I would have asked you,
No. Zeus,
you said it happened. So you're reporting on a story that
I said my family, and
that
I
happened
grew
to you
up
then.
around people that have happened.
So that means you have direct knowledge of it. You've experienced it, or you've been directly or indirectly, correct?
2,000 people in here. I'm pretty sure if they black, most of them have too. Or
right, but here's the thing, Dame. Right, there becomes a point as you mature and you become older and you learn that, hey, I might have went through these things, but I still know that even what I went through was either right or wrong. And if you could call that situation wrong, which is what to me what it was, unless there was actually, it was followed through legally, right? If it was done legally, then okay, I get that. But in the situation, you'll have to say to yourself, I wouldn't want anyone else to have to go through that. Right?
Thank you, lady.
You don't want your children to go
I
through
don't want.
that,
I
right?
just don't.
You
I
wouldn't
don't
want
want
your children
kids.
to go through anything like that, right?
No, but
Okay,
unfortunately,
okay, okay, okay. No, no, no. The answer
unfortunately,
is
my kid.
no. The
No,
answer
but
is
my
no.
kids. That's not how it works. Though that's just a perfect world. In reality, my kids will pay for my decisions, my kids' mother's decisions, and these kids, unfortunately, that's the rough reality of this world. We have to pay for for the sins of our kids. Pay for our sins. That's
So,
just how
so,
life
so,
works.
so,
So
so, if that was
nobody
the
wants kids
dang,
deported.
dang. Here's
But
the thing, though. There would never be any progress in the country. All right, and we would probably still basically slavery would still be legal if that was the attitude that everyone took on. At a certain point, you have to say we need to do better. And the
we do.
concern that I have here is, instead of saying, you know what, that happened then, it's 2025, we have to have a better way of actually addressing these kind of issues. You're on this, oh, let's get back to how we used to be type of time. And unfortunately, bro, it just shows that there's a lot of trauma that you got going on inside of you. You haven't done the work. You failed to do the work, and you're lashing out against me. You're lashing out against Val and the Democrats. And it's like, no, the problem isn't us. It's you. And you got to work on that. All right. I'm sad that I had to teach you these lessons, but it's only one show. And unfortunately, Big Zeus has to move on, and me and Val have to go. And that's a rhyme for your behind, ladies and gentlemen. Dane,
Yeah.
have you still support Trump? Because now is judgment time. Let's just get straight to it. You still support Trump after hearing all of this free game that Val and I gave you? You still support him?
He hasn't been perfect, and I'm not delusional. But other than that, he's been doing a grand job at this seat. Other than the few hiccups we've had, but he's been doing a fantastic. Don't rev it
You,
up.
you can put that in supercharge mode,
Okay,
Wilson.
Val says supercharge it. Dame, unfortunately,
Nah, he's
champ.
been doing a great job. He's been doing a good
Yeah,
job. So
yeah, thank you, thank you. But unfortunately, judgment has arrived. Thank you, Dame. All right, it was a pleasure once again doing it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Dame going straight to hell. Dame, come on, you know better.
Silence! You matter daily.
W Val, W Zeus.
It's the false equivalencies, right? I mean, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about immigrants that are in the system that have actually committed crimes, and talk about how they should be deported. These people committed crimes in our jurisdiction, and they need to pay for those crimes if that's actually the case. I'm not saying every one of them have, but if they have, they pay for it in this case. I want you, Dane, to go to the family of the parents and tell them, from the girl that y'all love to talk about so much, I want you to go to her parents and tell them that man is going to be released and deported to another country where they're not going to know what happens to him, where he has a chance of being released. I want you to go tell those parents that, Dane.
Thank you. Thank
Because
you.
this is the problem with your argument. This is why prisoners aren't released, because they're in the system for a crime that they have committed. Period. End of story. That is a ridiculous argument.
Bingo.
And
Thank you.
And I just don't know what to do with people like that.
Well, what we've done is we've planted a lot of seeds in his brain, and he'll be back to get some more kibble. W Val.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move it on. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, Val did an outstanding job cooking, Dane. Thank you, Val. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
All righty.
Drop me down.
All righty then. All righty then. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Shay. Welcome. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Oh, hey, I'm good. How's everybody? in the
Oh,
kingdom?
we're doing all right. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing good. Doing good. Just just looking at this sham of a president that can't walk up Air Force One, obviously.
You see him in the background. You see how you see fear in his eyes.
Yeah, he's gripping that thing like, no, don't fall, don't fall. Everybody's watching you.
I mean, this to me is indicative of his entire presidency. It's that level of fear that's gripping his supporters too. I saw that fear in Dame's eyes, to be honest with you.
Oh, Dame, my lord. This is where, his religious convictions, right? His Christian moral convictions conflicts with the way he votes. That's what they're all a product of. When they use their belief in their Christianity and their moral path and all of that, and they think I got to vote on the right because that's the ones that push that agenda, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, as we sit there and we show them time and time again how he's been lied to, and that the Republican Party is not for Christian moral values. They use it to get your vote. They've been doing that for over 50 years. Back in the day, the Catholic Church was very pro-choice. They were very pro-choice. And it began to shift where they believed that they could start getting Christians to start voting on the right if they could fearmonger them. So they switched to pro-life. They switched to traditional family value comments. No longer the party of fiscal responsibility, obviously.
No
right?
Ellie. Yeah, you're right, Shay. Please.
I mean, when you got Elon Musk and Donald Trump, two billionaires going at it, right? It's obvious that even Elon Musk bought into the BS. He's supposed to be this brilliant man, which I do think he is, right?
Yeah.
But he bought in that the Republicans really wanted to cut the size of the government. So he's like,
and that's what they like to say on the right.
No, yeah. And he found out they don't want to cut the size of the government. They want to give billionaires tax cuts. And he's like, I don't need tax cuts. I'd like my subsidies. I like, running my companies. I kind of want this, but if we're going to do this, let's do it right. And he's literally possibly, quote unquote, got into a fist fight with Besant.
Yeah.
Besant, I think is how you say his name. The Secretary of Treasury. I mean, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Secretary of the Treasury. So
that's it.
I sit here and go, when are y'all going to wake up to hypocrisy like so many of us did?
Yeah.
They're not running on policy. And Val, thank you. You did a great job reminding why sanctuary cities do what they do. They're arresting these criminals. They're putting them in jails. They're facing our courts. And that's what they should do. When they get out of prison, then they get deported.
Boom. W, Shay. So you hear that,
Dame? So here's the deal. Even Pam Bondi said that. Even Kristi Noem said that when Obregon Garcia came over, right, back over, what's he going to do? He's going to face trial. If he's sentenced to prison, he's going to go to prison. And then what's going to happen to him? He gets deported.
Thank you. You just can't do whatever you want to do is the point.
100%. We have laws. And the problem is you guys don't know our immigration laws. You don't know them. You don't know the asylum laws. You don't know the history of Reagan. You don't know the fact that the immigration bills, which were on the table, immigration laws have not been changed in 50 years. Who keeps stopping it from happening is the Republican Party and Donald Trump, because he got elected on fear-mongering the southern border only.
Bingo.
And the Muslims. Don't forget about the Muslims. And we got another 11 countries on the ban for some reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and he didn't do Egypt, which is where that Colorado suspect was from. So you got to ask yourself, why not Egypt, right?
Well, great question. Why not Egypt? And it's the hypocrisy that we're watching here. What happened to states' rights?
No.
What happened there?
No.
And Al already said it. Obviously, Trump can call the National Guard in.
Yeah.
That's obvious. When are y'all going to wake up on the January 6th narrative? That he couldn't call it. That only Nancy Pelosi could call it. When there is no governor of D.C. D.C. is not a state. The mayor was the one. And so because there's not a governor, guess who calls in the National Guard in Washington, D.C.? The commander-in-chief.
Thank you, Shay, for breaking it down to these low lives.
You guys, he obviously could call it the National Guard. He doesn't need Nancy Pelosi.
No,
he didn't need Newsom.
Nope.
He could override him, even
Yeah.
though we don't really favor that because
Title 10.
states' rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
States' rights. What happened to states' rights? You go look at the Supreme Court sent it to the states.
Yeah. Did we ever ask Donald Trump to help us fix anything in California? Did we ask him? No. And you know what I think is funny, or not funny, but very interesting? This is coming on the heels of Elon calling out, saying, hey, we need those Epstein files. Isn't it so interesting that all of a sudden we're not talking about getting those Epstein files? Yeah. And guess who once again keeps falling for it? MAGA. You conservative Democrat, you DJ, you Dame, y'all are still sitting up here propping this man instead of saying, no, we get all that stuff. Gavin's got California under control, but if you don't mind, Trump, please release those Epstein files. W. Shea, W. Zeus.
Let's do it. Hey, let's go right here. If Trump's not in there, why aren't they being released?
Yeah. Any of you so-called Christian conservatives want to get up here and explain that? Because I'm not letting it go. I want to know where it's at.
Yeah.
I could care less about the protests right now in California. California was here before I got here. It'll be here when I leave, right, Shay? This state is it's part of the earth. It's not going anywhere. But I want to know, honestly, while Trump is still here and supposedly in his right mind, let's get those Epstein files out here so that we all can see who's supporting this guy that might be in those files. And actually, they say he's already in those files, right? Yeah, release some. W to the chat. Yeah, we want to release them. Release the files.
Release them. Even if Clinton's in there, even if whoever's in there, release them.
Yeah.
You guys have been asking for this release. Supposedly Trump was the one that he's so against, sex trafficking, and he's all about helping the children and finding the children. But wasn't he the one that separated the children and then lost the children?
Yeah.
It's so weird to me, and that's all I'm doing. Vote how you want to vote, guys. I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm just going to point out your hypocrisy to your face.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot.
Other things we're so right over here, and we're so I'm not saying any of that, but we have listened to you for 10 years about Donald Trump. The reason you voted for him 3 times.
Yeah.
What you've said, and here it is. We're just, what about this? Like, we don't care about the egg prices. We're not caring about any of that. We're pointing it out simply because for 4 years we heard you whine about the price of goods under Biden.
Thank you.
But you're not whining about the price of goods under Trump.
For some strange reason, y'all love it when he gives it to you and you don't even actually act like you don't like it. It's crazy that they do this shit. But you know what? This is Judgment Day for MAGA. Crazy. And we're going to get to him. But listen, thank you so much, Shay.
All right. Thank you for having me, my friend.
You're welcome. Welcome, W. Shay. No lies detected.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Look at that. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is truly, in my opinion, a huge show for us. We have so many, amazing people who are committed to telling nothing but the truth. So help us God. Good morning, Admir. How are you doing, champ?
I'm doing good. You?
Just doing what I do, taking care of these folks out here who continue to love being lied to and misled. But what's on your mind this morning?
I was in the queue, but Shay put a nail on the head. I think this whole thing is big distraction. I want to see the Epstein list, and Trump is not on them. Release the list. I don't care about the victims. Their information should be redacted. Yeah. I want to know the clients.
Bingo.
I want to know the clients. I don't care about nothing else. I want to know the clients. Trump said he was going to release them. Why haven't they been released?
W. Admir.
Why haven't they been released? I'm so sick and tired of the people that I stood with for the last 2 years, always making up excuses for why. That's all I want. I just want them released.
Yeah.
Why aren't they released? Why aren't we all in unity in this whole thing? I don't care if Bill Clinton's on there. I don't care if Joe Biden's on there. I don't care. I just want them released. Yeah. Enough is enough.
Bingo. Let's get those files released. W. Admir. Because and what you said was very important. Do you find that the folks on the right are making excuses for why they aren't being released, or do you find that they are in line with you and saying they want them to be released? Because you know these people more better than I do. But I'm just curious.
I only know about a handful of them that are basically with me saying, "Hey, release the list."
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, and you heard last time we were on the same live.
Yeah.
Even if he does become on the list, they won't care. They'll make up some kind of excuses.
Wow.
They'll make up some kind of excuses.
Wow.
I'm so sick and tired of this, bro. I don't care what side you're on. Stop making damn excuses for a man. He's going to be gone in 4 years. Then what?
Yeah.
What are we going to do then?
They're going to have to live with the guilt of this, right? They're going to look back. And I think, like I heard it the other day, a lot of these people, they're going to act like they never voted for Donald Trump. And when they have to tell their kids, perhaps, or their grandkids, did you vote for Donald Trump, decades later, they're going to try to say, oh, no, I would never have supported this person. That's how they're going to try to spin it. But they're guilty. God sees them like Asler.
But they're going to have to live with themselves on that.
Yep. Yeah, because we got them on TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what really is bothering me is we want to save money and all of this stuff. We're overspending and all this. According to a Trump administration right now, there is a siege in LA. If that is the case, why are you at the UFC fight spending my money?
Hey, let's go.
Why are you at the UFC having fun spending my money while supposedly there's a siege in LA?
That's a good question.
I mean,
any Trump supporters out there want to come up here and give us an honest answer? I would love for you to help write the justification for why our tax dollars should be used for him to go to a UFC fight while the city of LA is under siege, supposedly.
Yeah, I've asked several, people who are still MAGA, and the excuse is, well, Joe Biden took more vacation than Donald Trump. You know what I mean? So it's always to the same thing. It's whataboutism, but Joe Biden. Listen, and I apologize because I'm a little bit ticked off on a Monday, and I know your mama's watching, so I'm not going to curse. But I'm so sick and tired of these mother truckers making excuses. I'm so sick and tired of these mother truckers saying, but Biden. I don't give a you know what about Biden. Biden's not the president. Hold the man that we voted for to the highest expectations. Hold him accountable. He's a man. I have never been party over country. I've always been country over party.
Bingo. Admir.
So,
those are some very strong words. Those are strong words coming from you, and you know what the cult is going to do to you because you're in the cult. They're going to come after you. But I'm going to encourage you to keep telling these people the truth, because what I do, especially like MAGA Queen in the audience, right? What we're doing is when it's time for them to go meet their maker, we're eliminating their excuses that they'll try to make to say they didn't know. And you're doing a good job. All right.
Yeah. No, just before I got to get going, you know what, Zeus, they've been coming after me since January. That would mean I'm relevant, and I don't think I'm relevant. I just have a different view. First of all, you know how I was before.
Yeah.
And it's the human that finally reached out and I said, hold up, time out. Something's not adding up. And so if we're gonna sit here and talk about one facts of humanity, we gotta do it all together, not just one side.
Bingo.
That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for helping out.
Yeah.
Hold on. Asler, you said you have a question for Admir, because Admir, he used to be where you were, Asler. And if I were you, Asler, I would actually follow Admir, because he's actually doing some of the work you should be doing. All right, because you're in a very deep and dark place, Asler. And if you don't get out of this cult that you're in right now, you're in a world of hurt. What's your question? He doesn't want to ask it. All right, Admir.
I think I've dealt with Asler, and there's, listen, man, eventually it's gonna come to the people who really want to listen. And we can just, I've never been a follower, and so they can come after me, Brian. They're just little, you know what I mean? So, but do what you do, man. Stay safe, and everybody, you guys stay safe. Have a blessed day.
All right. There
Thank
you go.
For having me up,
You're welcome. W. Asler. I'm not Asler. W. Admir. I'm tripping. Thank you. Thank you.
So stay safe.
All right, you too. All right. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is a show of force. There's a lot of lovely people But I see some people in the audience right now, Trump supporters, triggered by the way that this broadcast is going. Is not going good for them. It's like I said at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave.
Goodbye.
If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Thank you. W Zeus. W Takesha. Hi Takesha. How are you?
Hey Zeus, how you doing?
I'm all right now. You got the floor for a second. I'll be right back. All right, cook and do what you do.
Okay. Hey, listen, Dame saying that Trump is doing a good job. It's like a man putting on a condom with no erection. What's the purpose? What has he accomplished by doing that? Because ain't nothing he can do for a woman. This is just getting ridiculous out here in these streets, man. I'm just saying. Now listen. The people that keep saying that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for calling in the National Guard apparently have never read the responsibilities of the Speaker of the House. It has absolutely nothing to do with calling the National Guard. Stop it. Now, Zeus, let me say this. You remember I told you that you're going to reap what you sow? You remember I told you that, Zeus?
Yes, I do.
First, they started talking about Sleepy Joe. Then Trump started falling asleep everywhere he goes. Then they started talking about how Joe Biden had to be led off the stage because he didn't know how to get off. And then Donald Trump got off Air Force One, passed by the motorcade, and they had to go down the street and get him and bring him back to the motorcade. Now Donald Trump done went on a trip with no suitcase. Zeus, how you go on a trip with no suitcase? Y'all talked about Joe Biden tripping and falling, going up Air Force One. Now your dear leader done took a trip with no suitcase himself. Are y'all not paying attention to everything that y'all criticize Joe Biden for? The Lord is letting happen to Donald Trump right before y'all eyes.
Amen. Amen. Tell us,
do y'all not see this happening right before y'all? He reaping everything he has sown. All the evil he's sown, he shall get it back 3 times worse.
Talk about it, Takesha.
You out there at a doggone UNC fight and it started a whole battle in LA. They ain't talking like he in LA in the middle of what's going on. And I don't want to hear nothing about you saw a video, because when we saw the video of January 6th, y'all still said it didn't happen. So how do you know what's going on in LA if you ain't there?
Preach.
Stay out them folks' business in LA.
Thank you.
You don't live there. You ain't got nothing to do with it.
No lies detected.
Listen, Zeus, it don't have nothing to do with him trying to get his immigration numbers up. It has everything to do with him having to get his white numbers up. Because that's why he brought those white South Africans here. And that's why he's trying to get the most colored people out he can. But the Bible said at the last, come on, Zeus, shall be first.
And
the first shall be last.
Dead last, W. Takesha. Hit him with it.
In first place.
Amen.
Why they trying so hard to stay number one when they gonna end up being the last?
Talk to him. Tell him.
Figure it out for me, Zeus.
I'm trying my best, but the demon got a strong hold on him. We had Dame coming up here. I don't know if you already talked about it, but we had Dame up here, and these people, they're conflicted right now. On one side, they want to do good.
This is what I told the chat. Dame saying that Donald Trump doing a good job is like a man putting on a condom with no erection. Ain't nothing he can do for a woman like that.
It's the thought that counts, right?
Donald Trump ain't doing a doggone thing but playing in these folks' face, and they keep letting him.
Wow.
What is he
Y'all gotta do better.
What has he done to affect the economy in a positive way?
Nothing.
Nothing at
Nothing.
all, Zeus.
I can't think
They
of
still
anything.
going to the grocery store and the price is still going up,
W.
Zeus.
Rick. Tell him. So let me ask you something, Takesha. How do you help these people who somehow want to say, I want to protect the women and the children, but I want them to, I still support ICE going after those women and children. Can you be lukewarm?
Zeus, you can't be lukewarm. You can't straddle the fence. Number one, these people have no discernment. The ones that swear they Christians. Because if they did, they would know that everything Donald Trump doing is wrong. They would know that God ain't put Donald Trump in place. They would know that he just stepped back like he did the children of Israel and gave them the king they asked for. And they're going to face destruction, Zeus. That's all this is about.
Amen.
They
Amen.
can't see the wrong because they won't wipe their eyes out, Zeus. So they think Donald Trump is this great man. I heard this man say yesterday he voted for Donald Trump because Donald Trump's rhetoric makes people scared. Who's scared? Who's scared of a bully? Nobody.
His supporters, I think his supporters are scared of him.
Well, Zeus, guess what? Ain't nobody else scared of him, Zeus.
Amen.
Because what we have...
Tell them, Takesha.
What we have learned, Zeus, from all of the rhetoric, is that it's just rhetoric, Zeus. We see that with the tariffs.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you this day. Then the next day, I'm going to bag down.
Yeah.
Then the next day, I'm going to get you. Then the next day, I'm bent over Bobby. Ain't nobody scared of Donald Trump.
Amen. Tell him. Nobody's scared.
Nobody.
And his supporters, they know it. And that's why they continue to go around and pick on people that they shouldn't pick on, like Joe Biden, an old man who now has that has the cancer issue with his, and they sit here and go after the most vulnerable people, and they think that makes them look stronger. It doesn't make them look stronger at all, right?
Zeus, how many times Trump gonna keep calling Joe Biden name? Every time he give an interview, he got to say he got Biden derangement syndrome.
That part, that's so true.
And it's sad.
And it's embarrassing that these people actually still want to prop him up, but we're not going to let them get away with it. One more thing. So do you think Gavin Newsom is doing the right thing standing up to Trump the way that he is, Takesha? Because
let me tell you something.
Yeah, talk to him.
Gavin Newsom is so fine that he can sit down and still be taller than Trump.
Boom!
He towers. He towers over Trump.
Ryan, zip it.
Gavin Newsom is not scared of Trump. The only people that are scared of Trump is the people in the red states, because the ones in the blue ain't think about Donald Trump.
Nope.
Gavin Newsom, keep doing what you doing, baby. Because ain't nobody standing Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't nothing but a liar. And the Bible didn't say if you lie, you can't inherit the kingdom. It said a liar. That's a person that constantly lie, and that's Donald Trump. And when that fire hit his butt, Zeus,
what's that?
You're gonna be praying for mercy, but there will be none.
Bingo, and it's coming, because you can't plant all these wicked and evil seeds and not reap the fruit of the wicked and evil seeds, right?
The same grace and mercy he refused to give other people. It's the same grace and mercy God gonna refuse to give to him.
Amen.
Watch what I tell you, Zeus.
All righty then, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, friend.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Show Takesha some love. No lies. Detective! Look at that. Wow, I fly. Wow, Takesha, you guys are really good friends. Woo! Thank you, Rick. Shout out to Rick C for putting that MAGA demon in a straight jacket. That's a nasty MAGA demon. Listen, Trump supporters, do any of y'all want to get up here and at least tell the truth once before I move on? All right, any Trump supporters out there, please put a 1 in the chat real quick, and I'll bring you right on up here, and we can get to the bottom of whatever has got you in that nasty situation. Because look at this, ladies and gentlemen. You are all heading down a path of destruction, and you don't even want to get off the little Trump train that you jumped on that you already know is about to run off a cliff. W, Big Zeus. W, Rick, I like that. It's not in their genes, Kabira. Yeah. So, okay, put a 1 in the chat or send me a guest request, and I'll bring you up. Because what happens is I do the show. I spend all morning just bringing truth after truth, dropping truth bombs. And it's almost like it stuns MAGA, right? And then I'm like, come on in the box, let's talk about it. And they go, oh no, I might want to think twice, because what I don't want to do is embarrass myself on the internet, right? Right, cutie Utie? So they don't do it. And then I go, okay, showtime's, I gotta leave, and then we do the song, and then we do the drill, baby drill, and then all of a sudden they come out of the fog and they go, oh, Zeus, you're this and you're that. And I go, why didn't you say it when I was doing the show? All right, because I'm right and you're not. You're wrong. All right. Let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. We don't got much time. All right. Good morning, Nutty. How are you doing? All right. Wow. Good morning, Nutty.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm okay health wise, but I'm a little upset. Actually, I'm very upset at these Trump supporters because they do not want to apologize for January 6th, the day that Donald Trump could have authorized the National Guard to protect our Capitol and didn't. But then they want to sit here and they tell me that Gavin Newsom, he can do it with Gavin Newsom. I'm a little upset about that.
Zeus, let me help you out.
Yeah.
Let me help you out. Don't hold your breath. You're never going to get an apology. And we're friends. So therefore, I'm gonna tell you like it is. We're friends, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to you because you're holding your breath. You might pass out and unalive. So don't hold your breath. You're not going to get the apology. But before I get going, y'all, we are so close. I want to make it a standard that while Zeus is on live, we hit 500,000 every single time that he's on live. Because listen, the word tells us that the demons tremble at what? The name of Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. But we noticed that when you signed on this morning, before you even started the show, you already had those demons quaking in their boots. Before you even started the show, you had to restart the live.
Yep.
So that means this show is being effective to what we're trying to put out there.
Amen.
So keep it up. So Zeus, I want to dumb things down. Can we dumb things down, please?
No problem.
Because
sure.
people like Dame, they're remedial. They're remedial. So y'all, we are in the United States of America. There's no country called America. That's number one. We are in the United States of America. And when you talk about helping Americans, you're talking about helping people on the continent of what? America.
Bingo.
That means Mexico. That means Central, Southern, North America. Because they're Americans.
Yeah.
So why are we deporting them? But I wanted to say this. So in the United States of America, each state it's its own country. Let me say that again.
Each state is its own country.
Each state is its own country. We are the United Countries of what? America. We just so happen to call those countries, we call those countries states. Who are the leaders of each country? Each country has a president, if you will. Gavin Newsom is the president of the country of California. That's what's called a governor. Because we here in the United States understand that there can only be one president.
One president.
But collectively, we have 50 head of states, which are governors.
Correct.
I mean, are y'all following me here?
I'm following you. I see what you're doing. Yeah.
So why is it that the federal government is invading the sovereignty of another country, i.e., the state of California, without the consent and the advisement of that country's president, i.e., governor? Now, the statute that Orange Tangerine is using to put in the National Guard to federalize the National Guard of the state of California he's in violation, because that statute specifically states, Zeus, that he has to coordinate and talk to and go through the office of who? The governor. The fact that the governor did not request this National Guard is abhorrent. Because if California needed the National Guard, guess who could bring them up and put them in activation? The governor could. The governor doesn't need the president to activate his National Guard.
No.
So that's why Governor Newsom is going to win in court, because he's in violation of the law.
Wow.
Which doesn't surprise us, because his very existence is a violation of law.
Thank you.
It should be against the law to smell his dirty diapers. It should be against the law to smell his taint that's on his body, because he doesn't shower and he doesn't get that stank off his ass. It should be against the law. So his very existence is against the law. And let me tell you something else, Zeus.
Talk to him.
I am not an advocate of violence.
No.
But when people are fed up, they're going to respond. Donald Trump is doing this. And I need every protester out there. It is your constitutional right to do so. But I need you all to be smart.
Thank you.
I need you all to be careful, because he is escalating this so he can declare martial law. Don't give him the ammunition that he so desperately wants. Zeus, do you remember a show called Wag the Dog?
Yeah. Number one
Don't
Republican.
We see Wag the Dog here.
Yeah.
We see Wag the Dog. He's creating drama to take away from his own illegal activities that he's doing. So he's creating something else to make you turn your head and be focused on something else. Y'all, don't fall for the okie doke. We know what this man is doing. So you all just be careful out there. Be careful out there. Protest peacefully.
Yeah.
As much as you want to just beat the crap out of these masked people who we don't know if they're ICE agents, because guess what, Zeus? I heard people saying that you can go on Amazon and buy an ICE vest.
Wow.
And so I'm just like, surely it can't be that easy. And I went and I looked it and I did it myself, Zeus.
Wow. So you can buy an ICE agent and impersonate an ICE agent is what you're saying. And
I did not purchase one, but yes. It easily pulled up.
Wow.
And it's got on the patch, it's got immigration enforcement. So you can get the vest that looks official. You can get the patch that go on the vest that says immigration enforcement. But yet you have these so-called immigration enforcement agents wanting to cover their face. But I seem to remember that during COVID, all of these knuckle draggers said that they couldn't wear a mask.
Yeah. Ain't that funny?
They're breathing.
Wow.
These knuckle draggers, they want to put on a mask. All of a sudden, they want to put on a mask. The devil is a lie.
Wow, W Nutty. See, once again, Maggie, we caught you being hypocrites. Now they can breathe wearing the mask. All of a sudden, they've grown some gills or something. This is why we say this is demonic stuff that we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. This is demonic forces, and Zeus, we're getting exposed.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what.
Wow.
If I'm ever out and about in public, and someone in a mask just come up to me, guess what I'm gonna do?
What's that?
I'm gonna go Malcolm by any means necessary.
Whoa.
Hear what I'm saying. I want everyone to read in between the lines. TikTok, this is for educational purposes only. Wink, wink. By any means necessary, I am going to protect my persons. I'm going to protect people I'm with. I'm going to protect the people around me, even if I don't know them. If some clown shows up in my orbit with a mask on and not identifying themselves and is not in proper uniform or attire to let me know that they're a law enforcement, by any means necessary. Because guess what? I live in the state of misery. The state of misery is an open carry state. And guess what? I am a registered Democrat who, even though I consider myself a moderate, but guess what, y'all? Democrats carry pew-pews too. By any means necessary, I will use it. And I will not think twice about it.
Lord have mercy.
Because if you come in my space with that nonsense, beware.
But isn't the president, shouldn't he be working on to de-escalate things? Because to me, it's Americans against Americans, and it's reaching a level it really, honestly, should not reach. And the question is, could the president of the United States do anything to bring the temperature down? Because again, I don't think any of us have a problem with going after and holding criminals accountable. But the reason this is really becoming an issue is because it's a crisis Trump has manufactured, right?
Mr. Zeus, I hate saying this, but I'm going to say this. I think the only way to bring this temperature down is at the demise of Donald Trump.
You mean getting him impeached? He has to actually,
No. Hear what I'm saying. Read in between the lines. The demise, meaning he takes his last breath. That's the only way I think that this is going to ramp down. Because even if he gets impeached, let's say he gets impeached, let's say he gets removed from office, he still has a voice. And people are still going to listen to him.
So you think even if he were, he serves his term and leaves office, you still think Trumpism, so to speak, would still be thriving because he would be the voice of it?
100%. We need to hurry up and understand that the only way to eradicate MAGA, the head of the snake must be cut off. If you get my drift.
Well,
he is the head of the snake.
Well, don't you think jail would accomplish that or impeachment?
No, because he still has a voice. His voice needs to be silenced forever. And the only silencing I'm asking for is coming from his maker, not from anybody else. I'm not telling anyone to go out there and harm Donald Trump. Let me make that clear in front of 2,000 people.
Yeah, I don't think you would be suggesting anyone do that. That's never the angle.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I can for it. But I can pray for his maker to do it. That's not against the law.
Wow, that's very deep.
I know deep. I'm triggering the comment section.
That's deep. I wouldn't go that far, but
you know what?
I think I get the angle.
I'm going that far because our nation is in peril. Our nation is in peril. We keep asking on a daily basis, can it get any worse? And day after day after day, the answer is yes, it can get worse. It's getting worse. It has gotten worse. It's going to get even worse. As long as he's in power, it is going to be worse. And if we don't stand up right now, while we still have some semblance of a nation, we're going to lose the nation.
It
is a republic if you can keep it.
Wow.
In the comments, do y'all know who said that? The founding fathers, they have literally reincarnated themselves away from maggot bait, and they're rolling their human remains in their grave because they cannot believe what's going on in this nation. They can't believe what's going on in this nation. Everything that they were against is going on in this nation right now. We have a guy who thinks he's a king, who thinks he's a dictator, who thinks that he's above the law, who thinks that at his command, everything happens. And then he's put people in office. He's put people in positions to make sure that they carry out his antics. January of 2024, Kristi Noem was the governor of South Dakota. There was something going on, and I don't remember exactly what it was in South Dakota at the time, because it's South Dakota. I didn't even know South Dakota even existed until I got deployed there. Something was going on in South Dakota, and she got on Fox News and said on Fox News that if Joe Biden federalized the South Dakota National Guard, there was going to be a war. Why is it different now, Kristi Noem? Why is it different now? When she was the governor, she didn't want the federal government encroaching upon her power as the governor of South Dakota. But now, with being the Secretary of Homeland Security, she thinks it's A-okay for this tyrant Chinese booty digger to do the same.
Nasty.
Well, he's nasty. He's nasty. and I'm sick of him.
It's unfortunate,
Because
honestly.
time and time again, we keep saying, Zeus, it has to stop. It has to stop. Now, again, we keep hearing Trump supporters talk about, how Mr. Garcia, everything that Trump tells them, they jump on the bandwagon because they're not smart enough to think for themselves. They were told that he would never come back to this country, despite what the Supreme Court said, because who cares about the Supreme Court? They don't matter. But where's Mr. Garcia at now? He's back in the United States. Why is he back in the United States? Because they want to try him for human trafficking. And when you have the chief guy over in Tennessee, of the Central District of Tennessee, resigning because he came out. By the way, y'all, he's a Republican. He came out and stated the reason why he was resigning is because he felt that Mr. Garcia was being politicized by the DOJ. Because it was the Eastern District of Tennessee that indicted him for human trafficking.
Yeah, they're making it up as they go.
He quit.
Yeah.
He's wagging the dog. So y'all keep your eyes on the prize, because I guarantee you, if y'all think this is bad, just wait till tomorrow. Something tomorrow is going to be even worse.
Lord have
and then
mercy.
Just wait. Listen, by Friday, if we're not, if we have Zeus, you keep turning up the fire, the lake of fire.
Yeah.
We're all going to be in the lake of fire by Friday, because we're going to be like, can anything else go on in this country? So Donald Trump's sitting in the White House saying, hold my depends.
Lord.
He's sitting there saying, hold my depends and my Diet Coke.
Wow. Well, listen.
I don't know why he drinks
we're gonna
he's certainly not in shape.
Huh?
I don't know why he drinks Diet Coke, because it ain't helping him.
I think it's an addiction he has, but that's a good point. It's demon juice as far as I'm concerned, and he needs it. I don't like it, but he'll drink it, all right? But you know what? You brought up some good points.
I'm getting out of here, Zeus. Let me say thank you to the kingdom, because you all will get to that 500,000. So please remember what I said. Make it a standard that every time this man gets on, because the truth needs to be told, whether who likes it or not, whether they're on our side or not, the truth must be told.
Amen.
So make sure we're protecting the live. We're liking, we're tapping, we're sharing the live. We want to protect the live. So keep on doing your thing. Thank you for getting him to 500,000. You know what? By the time he gets off, let's hit 1 million. Let's go. Thank you, Zeus.
Let's go. Nutty. Let's just get this cleared, because I know how the mind works. None of us up here would ever advocate anything dark or bad to happen to the sitting president. And I'm a person that I just don't even like the idea of anything that's violent. But the question that I have for all of you is this, especially to MAGA. When are you guys going to tell your dear leader to knock it off and do the right thing and be Zeus? Thank you. Because I get what Nutty's feeling, and that's a very serious feeling. But you all need to tell your dear leader that enough is enough. The American people do not need him to meddle in anything. I can't think of a situation that he's been a part of that it actually turned out positively. Name one situation that this guy right here has actually been involved with negotiating some sort of outcome, and it actually came out and it was very successful. You can't even point to any of his businesses, because now we're finding out they've all been linked to fraud. Who is this? The Neon Man Kev. Neon Man Kev, come on up here. Send me a guest request. The mods have pinned you, and I'm trying to bring you up, but I can't. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to bring you up, Neon, but you don't have the ability. Attacking, good morning.
Good morning. I have a news article for the topic that Val and Nutty talked about. Let me play it for you. It's really interesting. Hold on here.
Is this going to help MAGA to see the light?
This happens in regards to fake ICE agents, and that's why they shouldn't be wearing masks.
Oh.
Agent to try to rape a woman in Brooklyn. Investigators say the man told the 51-year-old victim that he was an immigration officer and then led her to a stairwell where he attacked her. Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres is live in Brooklyn Heights with more on the concern in the community this afternoon after this attack. Joe.
Liz, there are a couple of different aspects of this case that make it particularly unnerving. Atmosphere, time, location. Atmosphere, pretty well documented. There's fear and anxiety in immigrant communities throughout New York City. The time of day, just before 11 o'clock yesterday morning, and this is the location, a very commercial district here in Brooklyn Heights. Now consider all that and add these two facts. The victim, a 51-year-old Hispanic woman. The suspect, a man who claimed to be an ICE agent. 39-year-old Dominican-American Ruth Brito now carries it.
We don't need to listen to anything else, but the thing is this. The ICE agents wearing their masks, they don't need to be wearing their masks. And we should know who they are. We should see their lanyard hanging around their neck or whatever it might be. This right here, and with the ICE agents covering their face, they could be white supremacists hired by Trump's team who were released from January 6th.
You
the
think
people
so?
that attacked possibly, we don't know because we don't know who these people are. They're hiding their identity. They don't have any lanyards. They don't have their names on anything. They don't have nothing. Okay? So as you have ICE agents, and this is the thing, arresting people going into their immigration checkup, arresting people who are gay makeup artists who are not illegal, or excuse me, they're going through the process legally, who don't have a criminal activity, who are now sitting in a jail cell in El Salvador. I mean, come on, guys. By the way, I also pulled up, I think the Second Amendment people would really like this, because the Second Amendment role is preventing tyrannical government in a key debate point. Many interpret this as a safeguard against government overreach. Do you think government overreach is happening right now, guys? Could the Second Amendment people take their positions to where having your firearm is now acceptable in regards to a situation like this? Remember January 6th, where 140 cops were beat up, where the National Guard wasn't called, and the Trump supporters, the Russian bears on this app, keep saying, get over that. Forget about it. Let it go. But now they're praising what Donald Trump did with National Guard in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Ain't
that something?
There was no riot at the time before they called him. Donald Trump has initiated this violence to escalate. And I put on a video showing from the 1950s the riots against black people back then.
Wow.
Using German shepherds, pepper spray, water hoses, batons.
Biden didn't initiate this violence. Stop it.
Exactly.
Biden wasn't even in office.
You know, so this is ridiculous. Donald Trump is going after anybody because he wants the numbers. And for Dane to say, let's get the people that are in jail and put them out. They're behind bars. Let them sit there.
Yeah.
They're not causing any issues. Let their sentence run out and then deport them when they're done.
Yeah.
Because we have the information. But when you have people sitting in the right-hand side, and these Trumpers on the right-hand side, not saying a word, holding their friends accountable, right?
Yeah, this is what they do.
I see Vegas girl saying, no one should be advocating for violence. Bullshit. You listen to people. Oh, sorry.
Wow. Wild show today. Seriously.
You have Vegas girls listening to people promoting violence. She doesn't say anything, and she goes, I'm a moderate. I'm not picking any side. No, you're siding with the people that you sit with. So I'm tired of hearing your stuff. But anyway,
Lord have mercy.
I'm fed up with that. I'm fed up with you sitting idly by, not holding somebody accountable. This is what Vegas girl does. Russian Bear, did Donald Trump assault a woman? No. Okay, I won't ask you any more questions. That's what they do. The thing is this: Donald Trump is 72 hours away from calling martial law.
You think
I
so?
saw that in the video. He is laying the platform to put out martial law so he can take over the state government to where he can put forth a way to prevent the next elections. 12 other countries, except for Turkey and Saudi Arabia, banning them from travel. Why not Saudi Arabia? Oh, I know why. Because he has a $2 billion contract with Saudi Arabia for the Live Golf Course.
Yeah.
And why is Donald Trump at an MMA fight not worried about the issue in Los Angeles that he put forth? Please move. Get in front of that.
You see the tube going down his leg. A lot of people are saying it's a catheter.
It is a catheter because that's not his sphincter.
So this is again another example of why he's really not fit to be the president. And if I were the people on the right, I'd be trying to say, hey, it's time to go ahead and step aside. You've done enough harm to this country, and that's where we're at right now, MAGA. When is enough? We're falling up airplanes. You got the catheter out at the UFC fight. I mean, don't you have any shame, MAGA?
I mean, and then you guys are complaining about waste, fraud, and abuse. Here's another $5 to $7 million in taxpayer money, so this bloated buffoon can go sit in front of the people that he doesn't care about the fight. He cares about the population. I mean, the popular vote. That's all he's doing. He's trying. I'm one of you. I'm one of you. He doesn't care about this. But you guys complain about your pennies going to other countries to feed children, to help the needy, to help people with diseases and maybe get them vaccines and medication and housing and all these things that could benefit somebody else's life, right? He has spent over $30 million so far playing golf, Super Bowl, MMA twice. What other thing did he go to? But anyway, this is getting ridiculous and it's getting out of hand.
I saw him in his store handing out popcorn too, and I'm saying, who's paying for all of these little things? And it was a big bag of popcorn he threw. And it's like, wait a second, shouldn't you be focusing on saving this great country of ours? All this golfing and stuff that he does. Yeah, NASCAR. Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, NASCAR. Yeah. Do you remember when he went to the grocery store and was wanting to talk to people at the cash register?
Yeah.
And he was handing out $100 bills? Signing
them.
Do you know that the people at that store were on Fox News in the morning? And your family owns that store, yeah. And they got a phone call saying, hey, can you set up where people are at the register so the president could come by? That was a setup.
Wow.
It was a setup.
Wow.
Oh, also, one more thing I'm going to put on my page.
Yeah.
Came across a video of a woman talking about Donald Trump's modeling agency back when. We was buddies with Diddy, and he brought in foreign teen models to the United States that partook in gatherings of rich people. So that's kind of a teen modeling agency.
Wow.
That he had a foreign teen modeling agency.
Wow. I mean, and this makes it to me very difficult for anybody to call themselves Christians and then turn around and say that they love protecting women and children and then turn around and vote for Donald Trump. No, you don't. Yeah, nothing but a hypocrite. Yeah, and we see it for what it is.
But again, the people on the right-hand side that we've dealt with and argued with, again, they praise the January 6th. They don't care about the people who lost their lives.
Yeah.
They're praising Donald Trump and his actions about L.A., and they don't care that they're removing innocent people from the United States.
Bingo.
If they cross the border, that's enough for them to remove them from the United States, even if they're trying to claim asylum.
Bingo.
Properly.
Yeah. Tell them attacking.
Well, I'm gonna drop. Everybody be good. Everybody be safe.
All right. W attacking. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. We've reached that pinnacle, that point in the show where Big Zeus does have to get up out of here. I know. We could talk all morning, but I think one thing is crystal clear. The violence needs to come to a stop, and the Trump administration, honestly, needs to lead that charge ASAP. All right, W Zeus. And I'll say this. We know Donald Trump has the power over the National Guard, so we don't even need to debate who was responsible for January 6th. It was his lie that lured his supporters there, and it was him not calling the National Guard that resulted in his supporters trying to unalive his vice president. W. Zeus, thank you, everyone. Little Miss. I'm going to have to, disagree. I don't think that the way this is all going to come to an end, I don't think it requires what Nutty said, ladies and gentlemen, because that was dark. I believe genuinely what's happening right now is God's judgment is truly, truly upon the nation right now. Yeah, I'm talking to the so-called Christians. And what's going to happen, and this is what I'm all about, the will of MAGA, it's going to have to snap like a twig, right? And I keep telling you, and what we're doing by applying so much truth. We've done an outstanding job. Trump's first 6 months, we've been holding mirror after mirror up to his supporters. And some of them are now waking up and going, oh, okay, we've made a terrible mistake. Others, we're sending them to the lake of fire, W. Zeus. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep overwhelming these Trump supporters, because it's one thing for Trump to be, doing what he's doing, but it's another thing for these so-called Americans, these so-called patriots, to be out here in the information age. You're supposed to have a smartphone. That means you now can be a free thinker. You can go look this information up yourself. There's AI. You got OpenAI. You got Grok. You got all AI. There's no excuse for you to actually still force yourself to believe every single thing your dear leader says. There's no excuse. And so what we're living in right now is a time where every morning the truth is it's doing a number on these supporters. You know what I got to do? Latinos for Trump. You all heard her come out and say, oh, I voted for you, but this isn't what I voted for. And it's going to take more and more stories like that. When people start saying, I voted for you. This guy right here with the catheter running down his leg. Look at it right there. I mean, come on. That's somebody's husband. Come on. You voted for this guy thinking he was going to give you the golden fields, the lilies and the grass is green. You voted for all of that. But ever since he's gotten into office, MAGA, it's been nothing but hell and destruction upon you. Yes. Guess who's knocking at your door, MAGA? Who is it? Hell and destruction. What do you want? I want to drag your souls and you straight to hell. W. Zeus. And us, those of us who actually stand for the truth, we'll never surrender this great country of ours. And so, the good book talks about what's done in the dark will come out in the light, and you reap what you sow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting out of the way, but I truly do believe Donald Trump and his so-called Christian supporters will reap what they sow. W. Kabira, thank you. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we got to wrap it up. I want to give a special thank you to all the subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists for tuning in this morning. And we tried our best to actually having a good conversation, and we did really getting the truth out there and making sure that these people out here know that we're not going to sit here and watch innocent people be persecuted by a corrupt and incompetent administration. All right, seriously. But I also want to give one last round of booze and shame, and this goes out to all of the Zeus haters out there. These are not just my haters. These are also your haters. Hold on a second. Oh, my God.
Yo, it's Snuggles. You guys are a bunch of losers. Great job, though. Keep talking. You got no leaders, no Democratic leaders, no Democratic presidential nominee, and you're all talking shit. Quit attacking our police officers and inciting violence. Thank you so much. Snuggles is winning. You guys are losing.
Let me ask you a question, Demon.
What's up? Turn the heater on for yourself. Put yourself in the lake of fire.
Yeah. So you came all the way from wherever you were, because you could have been here all throughout the show, but you wait until I'm wrapping up my show to get up here. Let me ask you a question. How much are your eggs?
My eggs are about where Biden left them at. It's getting lower. It's at the good prices because you guys said that when it was rising during the Biden period.
I got him going already. He's talking about Biden. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Now get to Obama.
Exactly.
Get to Obama.
Yeah, we're down to Obama's inflation.
Okay,
right?
and get to Bill Clinton.
We inherited Obama's
get to Bill Clinton
economy, right? So Donald Trump got us back down to Obama's economy. You guys are a bunch of talkers. You're going nowhere. You guys have no. Who's your Democratic president?
Let me ask you a question.
Let me ask you.
Who called the National Guard out in L.A. this weekend? Who did that?
The greatest leader ever, bro.
Who?
Attacking police officers.
Who
set up the bricks at the corner?
Who called the National Guard this weekend?
Gavin Newsom.
Okay.
Not Gavin Newsom.
So it was Trump, right?
Right. No, it was that dumbass mayor too. She didn't call.
Oh, he's crashing out. So one thing I need you to do is I need you to apologize for saying that Trump couldn't call the National Guard on January 6th because that's something you spread a lot of nasty stuff.
What are you talking about? He called them the day before. You know that. It will come out.
Okay, it'll come.
Cash and Bongino said that there were FBI agents in the crowd. You'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
turn the heater on, bro, because you're losing.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's send this MAGA demon, this Zeus hater, straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I had to take out the trash right there. That was an offer I really, honestly could not refuse. W, Zeus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get up out of here. All right, but please take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Do not do anything I wouldn't do. We are out of here. What a show! That was trash. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you're right. Stop the violence. We don't need any violence, and I think that should come from the Trump administration all the way down to the people that are protesting. No violence. And do not walk around and say that Zeus advocates any kind of violence because you'd be lying. Stop it. I build a platform based on love. All right, you know that. Think the DNC is paying me? Guess what? W. Zena Smith. So what if the DNC decides they wanted to pay Big Zeus? What's it to you? What do you want me to do? Unemployed or whatever you want to say, don't have any money so you can poke fun of me and then say, oh, look at that, another lazy black man, right? I mean, that's what you all want to do. You're never happy seeing anything. And you're a bunch of race baiters, right? I get up here and I work my butt off. And I deliver some of the best content you could ever get, live creator style. And all you have is a bunch of Zeus haters. All right? What would you rather me do with my time then, right? You don't like how I connect the dots? Yeah. Right, Tiffany, for the people? That's why I'm me and you're you. Let's get you some drill, baby, drill, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Seriously. Alrighty then. Let's go.
Kamala Harris's war.
You're not gonna get any drill, baby, drill from no one else. You're only gonna get it from me. Big Zeus.
She's gonna ban fracking, right?
Yes,
100%.
Thank you.
She was against fracking.
Snuggles is back. I'll debate you.
All of a sudden, about a year and a half ago, when she was getting killed in the polls, she said, "I like fracking very much." Look, they always go back to what they want. They always go
Vegas
back.
girl, you got to get on the right side at
She's
some
a
point. I'm
radical
gonna be honest with you.
left Marxist. She can't help it. But we're going to end that, and we will frack, and drill, baby.
Because you don't support violence, but you were in that live with the George Floyd thing. That's kind of a weird thing to me. I'm gonna be honest.
We're going to be, for these guys, we're going to drill, we're going to take out so much money, we're going to pay down our debt, we're going to lower your taxes to you.
Here it goes.
Insane asylums. They go crazy when I say the late, great Hannibal Lecter
Drill, baby, drill, we're gonna frack. Drill, baby, frack. He said, baby, just like lots of big energy. You know she's gonna bang, you know she's gonna bang, kid. Right? Up in there, she was against fracking, against all the stuff in it. All the stuff in it, all the stuff in it. All the stuff about a year to half ago. When she was getting killed in the pack, she said, I like fracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want.
Am I anti-Trump? You mean like, do I like sending MAGA demons straight to hell? Absolutely. And we will.
So deep, we're gonna be for it. Guys, we're gonna take out so much money.
We're gonna take down our debt. You're not cool. All right, you're projecting. All right, you're not erecting. You know what I mean?
Drill, baby, drill, we're gonna frack.
Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter. You see what I can do and you can't do it? Keep it clean. We're gonna drill, baby, drill. Come on.
Insane asylums.
You know they go crazy when I say
the late great
you're a Christian on the weekend.
They say, why would he mention Hannibal?
Yeah, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter?
We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums.
That part.
You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill. Lower your taxes.
Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy.
When I say the late great Hannibal. Drill, baby, drill.
W, Tiffany for the people. Hey. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. I see you, Dame. Let's go. All right, listen. How much do you owe, baby? Oh, tiny tank top Tim Tom. Conservative, Democrat. Oh, they can't pay off your debt. I can pay it all off. All right, because we got bags of that. All right. Oh, you got taxes too? Don't worry. We'll lower your taxes like you wouldn't believe, because guess what? There's so much liquid gold underneath our feet. All we got to do is drill, baby, drill to get to it. All right. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, we'll do a little bit of that fracking, because I know you like that too. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of here.